Good evening, everyone. I know it's been a long day, but I am your proud principal of the Southeast Raleigh community. George Harden, and I would just like to welcome and thank everyone for coming this evening to attend this forum, to listen to some of our key stakeholders, members from Wake County Public School System and our community. But more importantly, this event is to hear your concerns and solutions to the tragedy and things that have plagued our country and has now touched our school and our community. And we're not taking it lightly. Just a few housekeeping items. The restroom, if you go out the back, go to the left and straight ahead, the restrooms, ladies will be on the left, men will be on the right side. But again, this is just important. This is just the start. This is what we do as a family. Let's talk about things and look at always improving. So at this time, I would like to bring Dr. Robinson to the stage to facilitate this meeting. But again, thank you and welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to begin tonight's forum with a moment of silence to honor the memory of Delvin Farrell, a cherished member of our school community whose life was tragically cut short. Thank you. This has been an incredibly difficult time for all of us. The loss of a young life on our campus is a heart-wrenching event that has left us with deep sorrow and many unanswered questions. We come together tonight in the spirit of healing, in the spirit of understanding, in the spirit of a shared desire to prevent such tragedies in the future. In our midst are individuals who are pivotal to our school's safety and response. To my left, we have Superintendent Taylor, who oversees our district's policies and response. We have Southeast Raleigh Magnet High School Principal, Mr. Harden, who is at the front line of our school's day-to-day safety. We have the Chief of Police, Chief Patterson, who can provide insights into safety measures and ongoing investigations. And our school board member of District 4, Tara Waters, represents our governance and accountability. Each panelist is here in the spirit of transparency and support, though please understand that there are aspects of the ongoing investigation that will not be able to be discussed in detail. Before we hear from our esteemed panelists, I'm also honored to introduce Dr. Eleanor Ashburn, who is the Central Area Superintendent. She will share a few words with us. Although not a panelist for tonight's forum, her insights and perspectives are invaluable as we navigate these challenging times. Dr. Eleanor Ashburn.
Good evening. I'm Eleanor Ashburn, and I have the privilege of serving the Southeast Raleigh High School community in my role as Central Area Superintendent. As Dr. Robinson stated in his opening remarks, I recognize how incredibly difficult the past week has been for Delvin's family and loved ones, for our children, our staff, our parents, and our entire community. The loss of a child is perhaps the most difficult loss that any of us can endure. Over the past week, in the wake of such a tragic loss, we have also seen heroic efforts from our students, our staff, especially Principal Harden, parents, and community members. We have seen our community come together to support one another in this exceptionally difficult time by giving of themselves, of their time, their presence, and their words of comfort. Tonight's forum is an opportunity for us to continue the process of healing and understanding. It is also a time for us to consider how it is that we ensure that every child in our community receives an excellent education. And I challenge each and every one of us to consider how we do this important work together as a community with one another. Thank you for the opportunity to serve the Southeast Raleigh community. It is truly one of the joys and privileges of my life to serve your children. If I can ever do anything to support you, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ashburns, for those insightful words. Now we will turn to our panelists for their opening remarks. Let's start with Superintendent Taylor.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson, and good evening to you all. What I'll say to you is that as the superintendent of Wake County Public Schools, you never hope that you have an incident such as this where there's been a loss of life under your watch. And so I want you to know that this is the most difficult part of the job being superintendent is leading not only a school but a community through this kind of tragedy. And we continue to express those expressions of grief for the family, and I think it is important that we continue to do that and recognize how very difficult it is for that parent, for those parents and that family. I remind people all the time that I have pictures of my 3 children in my office, and it is a constant reminder to me that I am a parent before I am anything else, and that grounds every decision that I make as a school teacher and school administrator. And so I recognize that the family is dealing with a tremendous amount of grief, and so we want to lift them up and support them. But I also recognize that when a person is lost, that loss goes beyond the family. Delvin had friends, and so I have a best friend of over 40 years, and I could imagine what a loss of that friend would do to me. And so we have to continue to think about those that are involved. I came out and met with the faculty and the staff, and when I think about what they've had to endure and the tears of seeing someone that you taught to no longer be there. And so that is why we have to continue to uplift Principal Harden and his entire faculty and staff. And tonight is a visible representation of what this tragedy has done to the community. And so that is why you are here. That is why we are here. It is about transparency for us as a school district because we recognize that this is a fight that we do together. I always want to remind people of what are the solutions to a crisis such as this, and it really requires an effort that needs to be addressed outside of the school. We want people to recognize that whatever happens in the school sometimes, not always, can be a reflection of what is in our community and what are the things that we need to address. And so while we recognize there are things that we will always address as a district, we also understand that a greater part of our work is how we engage with our community. I want people to understand that there are a lot of organizations that continuously address the needs of students and families. Now, the key thing for us is to make sure we keep a light on that effort and that work. And so if someone sits and tells me that we need to start doing something, I want people to recognize that there are so many groups that are doing things already, and they've been in the fight, and we need to recognize that. The work comes with how the rest of us join into that fight and that battle to make sure we do that. And so one of those things that I want to do is to make sure that I convene the relevant constituents so that we can talk collectively about how we shine the light on this work and make sure that we obtain the resources that are necessary to support communities and schools. I want people to recognize that a convening is not about having a tragedy, putting together a stakeholder group and having somebody to come together to pontificate. If we do that, it's going to be what we've always had. So that is the idea that we want to make sure that we recognize the work that is being done, that we identify the additional work that needs to be done, and we keep a consistent and continuous light on that effort. I can tell you that having a march yesterday and being a part of that shows the engagement that this community is willing to do. And that is what every single person in this room needs to do, is to make sure that we hold each other accountable. And so that march showed me that the people who want to do that work is here. So how do we move forward? That is about us continuing to examine our efforts that keep our schools safe. I want people to recognize that there is a limit to what we can talk about when it comes to school safety. And that is, and I think everybody understands that, what we don't want to do is to talk about the efforts that we're doing, and everybody is familiar with those. I don't want people to trust me either. That is where you have to say, Dr. Taylor, what we're looking at is results. And so if you guys are doing things and you're re-examining and examining, that's what we want you to do, and we are going to hold you accountable. And so that is a task for us, is to make sure we reassess every single day what it is that we have to do to keep kids safe. The one thing that I keep telling people, and I've been dealing with school safety for about 15 years at probably a different level than before. But what I've recognized in all the work and studies that I've seen is that it's human behavior. I'm going to say that one more time. It's human behavior that makes a difference. So whatever we do in terms of technology, whatever we do in terms of changes, it is about what we do from a human behavior standpoint that makes anything effective. So we don't want to have a situation where you have to go through all sorts of things to get into a building, but we have a brick in the door to prop it open so you can go out to your car and get something. Those are the things in human behavior that have to change. So we're going to continue to do that work to make sure that whatever we deploy, whatever changes we make, that we couple that with the expectations that we have for ourselves. I certainly want to make sure that we talk to the people that are most important, and that is our students, to say to us and give them an opportunity to share with us what we can do better. And so we never want to take that voice away from them. I share with people all the time that the majority of what we know about issues in schools, we get it from children. We get it from children. So we want to, of all the things that we do, to reassure our students that that anonymity will remain, and that is okay, and it is safe, and that we expect them to share those things with us so that we not only keep other children safe, but keep themselves safe. So children have to know that they can do that. I think the thing that has moved me the most is the desire of the students at Southeast Raleigh High School for people to recognize how they feel about their school. And so there were students at the march yesterday, and there were students that said, we want to get out and tell the story of Southeast Raleigh. So when we think about our SGA president, he's biting at the bit. He said, I want people to know that one event is not going to define us, that we are much greater, that we are a magnet school that is doing a lot of great things, and that if people want to talk about school data, then they need to talk about it in a sense that tells a true story. So with that, I'll yield to the rest of my speakers that are here, because I'll end up going on, and I don't want to do that. It's really not about Robert Taylor, but I want everyone to know that this is a process to which I am committed. I am committed. And so we will do this work collectively.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Next, we will have opening remarks from Principal Harden.
Grief that we all feel, because this is a tragic event. I want to remind our families and the community that safety is and remains the most important and requires ongoing engagement from all. Effort by all school community members and stakeholders. We made a few additions to our supervision and planned for additional staff to improve, our safety and security. Southeast leadership is also planning to target focus on lessons on conflict resolution and a campaign to encourage students to report information that they're aware of that could impact the safety in our community and our learning environment. We have to move beyond being silent due to past norms. We have to do it together. That's the village. We're going to do every part, but we need to get beyond these past norms. And as we're trying to deal with everything, we have social media and the news just running rampant. But we can't let these media sources dictate the negative stereotypes and images of our school and our communities. And I tell them all the time, you're not going to talk about my students, you're not going to talk about certain neighborhoods. No, we're not doing that. And we can't accept it. One student came to me Wednesday, Principal Hart, I need to talk to you. I said, are you doing okay? Just trying to make sure he was okay. But he was just so focused on what they're saying about our school and our community is not right. We have a good school, and all they want to do is promote the negative. And I said, it's okay. You're now growing up, and you're starting to see that things are not always fair. But I told him, I said, you have to stand strong and continue to be that model, to show your excellence and let it shine. And a lot of times, our students would probably say they're tired of hearing it at school, and we're talking about Bulldog pride. For those who've been here or in the community for years, the pride was to fight to have the school in this community. And we can't forget the legacy that was established years ago. We have some that may be here. So the emphasis of Bulldog pride is not a Mr. Harden thing. It is something that the legacy of Southeast Raleigh has always emphasized pride. So I'm just emphasizing it because that's what I know. And I tell them every day, Bulldog pride. Pride in yourself, your school, and your community. And we're going to continue to emphasize that. But with this particular tragic event, we have to continue to teach perseverance and resilience to overcome this incident, because it's not going to leave our minds, because it's in our hearts. I've seen it. Staff, families, community, students, we're all touched and impacted. So we have to teach it. It's not always there. It's not automatic. And sometimes that's the challenge. Everyone wants it to be a perfect situation. How you doing, Mr. Harden? I'm doing. That's it. I'm not good, but we have to continue to push and do the best we can. And we're going to do that for our students, to teach them to overcome and continue to strive. Because together, we're Bulldog strong. Thank you.
Next, we will hear opening remarks from Chief Patterson.
Good evening, everyone. Sounds like you can hear me okay. As I look into the audience, what I'm seeing before me is just amazing. I'm seeing a community who cares about unity, and that's why you're here, to commit to do something greater and for us to all work together. Lost my mic, but okay, we're back. And so yes, as I look into this community, I'm so excited because you are making an investment to be here today. I thought maybe that only a few people were going to show up, but when I got here and I'm gonna look into this audience, I know that you care about this community, and that is what it's all about. As others have stated, I'd like to express my deepest condolences on behalf of the entire Raleigh Police Department to the family of Delvin Farrell. It's a tragedy that happened, of course, but also to the family of the suspect in this case. We have two sets of families that are harmed and that are hurt because of this incident. So we extend our deepest heartfelt sorrow and condolences to both families. And also, too, we don't want to forget the other individual who is still injured and is recovering from his injuries. We want to make sure that we keep him uplifted in prayer, that he will have a full recovery as well. There are some individuals that I really want to thank for allowing this to happen today. Definitely Dr. Taylor and your entire staff, Principal Harding, thank you for partnering with the Raleigh Police Department, allowing us to be a part of this. And I'm so glad that I'm sitting next to Dr. Taylor because I want everyone to know that we stand shoulder to shoulder, that we're committed to working together, that whatever this school system needs to be successful, the Raleigh Police Department is here to make sure that that's provided. In fact, to that end, we have many of our officers who are here today, some of our leadership that works in this particular district here in the Southeast District, but also to our major who's over our detective division. I have my chief of staff that's here with me, several of my assistants that are here with me because they are committed as well. And we have our SRO that at this school, she was here when the incident happened. She was there to render aid immediately. She was not in a corner somewhere. She wasn't off campus. She was here at the school doing her duties on last week. And so we're very thankful for her. Yesterday's march, Unity March, as Dr. Taylor alluded to, really reminded me of the collective good that comes out of tragedy. Because it's easy when something tragic happens for us to sit around and point fingers and blame and talk about one another. But yesterday we saw strength in everyone who showed up, and we marched from Word of God to this school with our students leading the march, showing that they care about this community and that they care about this school. And seeing that was just amazing. But also too, one of our faith leaders made the remark or made the point that our young men are under attack. Everything that we have seen with this incident and what we repeatedly see in our communities, what I see from where I sit as the police chief is a repeat attack on our young men. They are victimizing and they are being victimized. And so we have got to talk about solutions on how we create environments that are safe for them, how we talk to them, how we get whatever they are dealing with on the inside, the anger that many of them are expressing. And parents, you know what I'm talking about. When we talk to our young men, we see that, we hear that. We've got to figure out some solutions to be able to change that and to get that out. Not to repress it, but to allow it to come out so that we can get better and we can get to the core of what they are dealing with. With the police department, we want to be here. We're committed to making sure, again, that we provide the resources that need to be had to make our community safe. I'll talk a little bit more later, but I just want you to know that our officers are well trained. They're trained in CIT, Crisis Intervention Team training. They have active shooter training. We have SRO training, legal up training. We want to make sure that every officer that we put in our schools are well trained, well prepared to handle and deal with whatever situations that they may be dealing with. And so I just want to reiterate my commitment to that. Thank you.
Now we will hear from Board Member Waters.
Well, good evening, everyone. The last few days have been very somber and a time of great reflection. However, I look out in the audience tonight, and I see a great amount of hope. And so it is a privilege to be before you as the representative of District 4 on the Wake County School Board. I've done and thought and prayed a lot today about what to say. And just before I came here, I was sitting and waiting for my own child to come home on the bus. And the realization that a mother will never have that opportunity again is a pain that sits with me, and it's a pain that drives the advocacy that I want to do for our community. And I hope you all know the work of the school board is to give voice to you all. You are the reason that we serve. The students in this district are our utmost important. I can't say that enough, how important it is that we do all that we can to uplift and encourage and fight for outcomes for our students that demonstrate the brilliance, the excellence, the giftedness that they bring into this building every day. I very often have conversations with our board chair, Mahaffey, who's here on the front row, and we have a child, both of us have a child who will soon be going to high school, and we talk about Southeast all the time, how wonderful the school is, and how we would be so proud to have our own children here. And so I want to make sure that everyone in this room realizes how much of a beacon in this district Southeast Raleigh High School is. There is a spirit of excellence that operates in here, and I just, every time I see Principal Harden, I see him uplifting and looking out for children from all backgrounds. In fact, the very first time I met Principal Harden, the thing that struck me the most was he was wearing an autism pin, and if you know anything about my life, that is very meaningful to me. And I've seen him do many programs and show up in many ways to make sure that every student in this building is seen, heard, and loved. And so we want to stand with Principal Harden and the entire school community to be able to carry out this work collectively. We all have a responsibility, and I hope that we all own that responsibility to show up, to care, to show that we are here and fully committed to the students in this community. And joining the march yesterday was a very humbling experience with additional board members, Monica Johnson-Hostler and Tyler Swanson, feeling the deep resolve to make action and change that will inspire and continue to move the work forward of healing and for building trust among our families is something that we're all committed to. And Vice Chair Haggerty and Mr. Hershey, all of us are all committed to doing what we need to do for advocacy, for the allocation of resources to ensure that all of our families feel safe, feel supported, and feel welcomed in this amazing space. One of the things that hurt me the most as everyone was grieving, and many of us grieved in so many different ways, but it was heartbreaking to hear so many things that didn't reflect the beauty of this school. And so as I was talking with some of our staff members, they uplifted so many statistics that were not mentioned. And in fact, before I came here, I exchanged a couple of texts with a young professor from NC State, very young, Dr. Dillahunt, who is here in the audience, a graduate of Southeast Raleigh High School. And I was congratulating him on his sister becoming a Teacher of the Year at Southeast Raleigh Elementary. And she came through this very school. And there are 1,000 stories of excellence that have come through this school. There are so many dreams that have been birthed and nurtured in this building, and that is the narrative that we must all carry out. We have got to tell our own story, and that story is that there is brilliance in this building and that we are here and fully committed to making sure that that comes through. So as we look to move forward and we do the stories and the reporting, I hope that we will acknowledge that this is a school that has 3 incredible academies that are giving students the ability to have lives that many of us still dream of, that this is a school where students earned more than $1 million in scholarships in a single year. Those are the things that we need to lift up. That is the story to tell. So when you leave here today, hold this school in your heart. Our educators in the building, I've been here many times, and I've never come in this building where I didn't feel like I was a part of the family. It's like coming home when I come to Southeast Raleigh, and I thank all of the educators in the building who come here every day, for those who are here early, those who stay late, those who buy food out of their pocket, those who do everything that they need to do to make sure our children are successful. Celebrate our educators who are in this building. Celebrate them every day. And so, my charge to you is to let me know how I can be of service. I am available. I am here in this moment to do this work. I'm a mother of 2 black boys, and that is my why, because the outcomes for my children are the same fuel that I want for your children. I advocate for them at the same level as if they were my own. And so if there are ways that I can serve, and if there are ways that I can advocate, if there's a time that I can encourage or do anything to be of service, I am available to do that. And I ask you to join in with us as we tell the full story of Southeast Raleigh Magnet High School and carry forth the narrative that we are doing great things and we are cultivating leaders for the next generation. And so thank you for the opportunity to be here.
The purpose of tonight's gathering is to create a space for open dialogue, to share concerns, and to discuss how we can collectively enhance the safety and well-being of our students. It is also a time to ask questions, though we must be mindful that not all questions will be fully answered at this stage due to the ongoing investigation and our responsibilities to abide by federal student privacy laws. Our goal is to listen, to understand, and to come together as a community in addressing these critical issues. As we proceed, I ask everyone to adhere to a few ground rules. Number 1, let us engage with each other with respect and empathy. Number 2, keep your remarks focused and considerate of others' time and emotions. Our goal is not to put a limit on how long a person can speak, but we want to be respectful of the time. If you have a question or a comment, I'm going to ask that you please proceed to one of the 2 mics that are located in the aisles. Once you stand at that mic, we will alternate from side to side, allowing people to provide public comment or ask questions. One of the specific asks by communication is please do not grab the mic. There are things that are tethered on there that if you grab it, you may knock them off or create situations. We are united in our grief and our desire for answers, but we must refrain from speculation and focus on constructive dialogue. Our community is bound by a common thread of caring for each other, especially in times of crisis. Tonight is a step toward healing, understanding, and making meaningful changes. Thank you for your courage in being here this evening. Thank you for your courage and your willingness to share your voice and for your commitment to the children's safety and well-being. As we move into the heart of our forum, we encourage those who wish to ask questions or share comments to briefly state their name and their connection to our community. This helps us in providing context to your concerns and fosters a more personal and engaging dialogue. However, if anyone prefers to remain anonymous, we completely respect your privacy. We are here to listen to all voices, and every question and comment is valuable to us. Now, without further ado, let us begin our discussion with a focus on moving forward together. If anyone has a question or would like to make public comment, please move towards the mics at this time.
My name is Sojourner Edwards. I have 2 students in Southeast, Amit Caldwell and Miana Caldwell. I have a couple of comments and questions. First thing I want to say is thank you to all the teachers, to all the first responders, to everybody that was there, that helped with the situation. I seen the video. My heart goes out to both families because this was a tragedy for all of us. These are all of our children. So whatever happens to one is like it happened to my own. I sobbed like it was my child because I don't want to send my children to school and to think that the one place that I'm constantly every morning to my son, get up, catch that bus, get to school. And to think that that could have been the day that something like this could have happened to him hurt my heart, or anybody's child. It hurts my heart. So one of my comments is, a lot of these children, which are our children, this is a community thing. We all have to come together because these are our children. We have to help them. One thing is counseling. A lot of kids are going through things. Parents, we don't know what's going on at home. So to prevent violence, violence is usually the last result of a voice not heard. This is the last thing you want to fight. Nobody's listening to you. You tried to get it resolved. That's how fighting starts. So what are we doing for our children as far as the mental health, counseling, getting to the bottom? Hey, somebody could have just been upset because they were hungry or whatever it is that's going on at home. Me personally, I've witnessed the beautiful things that happen in Southeast. My son is on the football team. My son was on the basketball team. The coaches, they're like fathers. Students, the teachers are more than teachers. Teachers are sometimes second like family members, like mothers, like fathers. Some kids are missing fathers, hugs, just the family. So these teachers are more than just teachers. These are also family members. And I've watched how they teach these young men, how they're here with them, how they're supportive. Some of the coaches bring my son home because they know that I work late. So it's a community thing. Children need to feel safe. My daughter, she didn't want to come to school. She was scared. You come to school, you can get into a fight, but how fast is the response going to be? Is somebody going to help me? I think the teachers should also be trained in first response. They should be able to administer first aid, because sometimes it could just be the response. So that's what I want to know. I know you can't talk about a lot of things, but can we talk about what you can talk about that can be done? I'm from New York. I'd only had 5 seconds to get a fight on before I was slammed to the ground. They didn't give us no chances to do anything. So what is the response, and what are we going to do about the mental health issues that are going on? Because clearly kids are not being heard.
Thank you. And let me get a point of clarification, just so everybody is aware. We are taking notes on every comment and every question that is posed. Even though we may not be able to respond, we are capturing that information, and we will be reporting back out. Ma'am, from New York, thank you for sharing those comments. Let's go right here to my right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. My name is Geraldine Alshami. I lead the Community Equity Leadership Team that reports into the Office of Equity for Wake County Public Schools. I want to say I've heard a lot today, and this is not my first rodeo. We are talking about one death. I'm talking about 47 years of seeing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. That's what I'm talking about. So all this one does is stir up all of the others that I've had to see over the years. But what I want to talk about a few things. One is root cause. Somebody talked about self-esteem. It goes so much deeper than that. First of all, as an advocate of 47 years, we've been dealing with this for 47 years, and what children are saying is that bullying, we know that bullying is the root cause. That one we don't want to address because we don't know how to address it. We know that broken families is another cause. Let's be real, y'all. Let's come on. Because we say we want answers. Let's talk about broken families. Let's talk about those young men. What's happening in their neighborhoods? Let's talk about how they deal with anger. Let's talk about them coming to schools, not just this school. Let's talk about them coming to schools. The lady said, what did the children say? Well, I work with children every Saturday and I give them a space to talk about bullying. Ever since 2000, I have been working around bullying. I was working around bullying when young Michael took his life. As we've talked about data that tells us how bad bullying is, we've given forms for the district to use to track bullying. We've done community programs to lift up the self-esteem of children who are broken. Okay? Let's talk about solutions, because we got all of that. When you first came here, Chief, I sent you a letter. I sent you a letter about something that I was doing with Wake County Public Schools, which is restorative justice. I sent you a letter, and at the time we were working on a community project to train community leaders in the community to host circles. Why? Because we understood the mental illness and what our folks were going through, and we knew there were no resources. We knew there were no resources, so we were trying to create resources so that we can give people a safe place to come to talk about their trauma, to interconnect with each other so that we can heal. So when we hear stories that we connect with, we heal. To talk about what are we doing with these children going wild? What are we going to do with these? I asked for that because that was the solution. That was the solution from the community. I'm here to talk about me. I don't know what nobody else is doing. I'm here to talk about me. I'm here, when we talk about blame, there's enough to blame. Everybody out here who has never really advocated for a child, you just as much to blame. Who has never stepped into the Board of Education to advocate against something that you knew was going on with these children, raise your hand, because you are just as guilty. You are just as guilty. Thank you. Thank you for the office, for the CELT, for the Community Equity Leadership Team, because I'm going to say this to all of you out here, every person out here. Wake County has given you an avenue to really have your input heard through that Office of Equity. A lot of us won't get involved because we want to be the big dogs and we want to be up front, and because we ain't leading stuff, we won't get involved. We want our own show. This thing has been in place for, I know, 12 years, and let me tell you something, it has not half been used. But most of the time, there's about 5 members of us trying to keep it going. But you got some complaints. There's a lot of folks out here with some complaints. There's a lot of people sitting out here with complaints. So what I want you to know is about the Community Equity Leadership Team, which is a community-based organization that is there in place to hear the voice of the community. Use it.
Thank you. Appreciate you, ma'am.
Chief, I'll be back to see you about that proposal again, and you too.
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready.
Thank you, ma'am. Young lady over to my left.
Good evening. My name is Shamara Morgan, and I have a senior and a sophomore here. First comment that I want to say is how much I appreciate Principal Harden and the Coach Campbell, football coaching staff. I was angered and saddened, and quite frankly, I still am, with the backlash that Principal Harden and Coach Campbell received through news outlets and social media from people who were getting bits and pieces of information that weren't even correct. When I think of Principal Harden, he is one of the most patient and kind and loving principal that I've ever met. He loves the kids of this school. He is genuinely caring about every single student. There is no favorite. When I think of him, I think of Joe Clark. when I think about what the woman said and the other woman who came before me in reference to bullying, I'm in agreement that that is a huge issue. And one of the things that I've found with people who are bullied is that they come from broken homes, or they have very low self-esteem, self-hatred, low self-worth, and they take that out on other kids. And they also have issues in the home where the parents aren't modeling behavior that we would like to see in these children. And as a leader in corporate America, one of the things that I've learned in leading teams is that our teams mirror the leader. Same as within the home. Our children mirror our behavior. So if you want to point blame or fingers at children, remember you have 3 pointing back at yourself. And you have to look in the mirror and say, what am I doing or not doing to contribute to positivity in these children and my children? When I think of the kids who were filming this and inciting this and laughing at this, my concern was, where were the adults, the teaching of the adults who raised these children? Because I do know for sure that mine know. They better not let me catch them in a video, hearing their voice, or laughing at some foolishness like that. So with that being said, I know that I've had conversations with Principal Harden in the past in reference to bringing mentorship to the young girls at this school. And what I want to know is, as parents, instead of placing blame, there's so many parents here tonight, what can we do for these children? How can we come to this school, inside the school, and contribute our services, contribute our time to building these children up? I know that I am involved in a sorority, Principal Harden, I know that you are involved in a fraternity. There are so many D9 organizations within this school. How can we come together to mentor these young girls and boys, to sow self-esteem, to teach them self-worth, to teach them self-love and self-respect, so that they can project that out into the atmosphere and cause a change around them?
Thank you. Sir?
Yeah, my name is Leroy Mitchell, and I live between Hagen and Martin Street. And I hope I can attribute some solutions as opposed to complaining. That's what we do all the time, we complain. First, it had started in the home. People say, well, it's the parents. I said, where are you going to find one? I'm 78 years old. I was born in 1945. In Vietnam in 1966, and somebody tried to kill me every day. And I felt safer in Vietnam than I do now, because there's a shooting in Raleigh, Durham every day, it seems. And less than 10 years ago, there was 9 drug houses in Hargett and Martin Street. And by my actions, and I'm not trying to put any stars in my crown, it's narrowed down to 3 now. They have a hit out on me as I speak, because I've tried to get rid of them, because they are just like black terrorists in our neighborhood, killing our black young men and women. And it seems like we don't have any men in our community now, because I'm older than most people in this audience. The women are doing everything. And what this woman said and what this other lady said is so true. Now, I was, like I said, I graduated high school in 1965. I was privileged to go to an all-black school where if you didn't learn it, they beat it in you. And the reason they beat us is because they feared the Klan, because they knew what they had to go through. And they knew that if we talked back to a white woman like I did, like Emmett Till did, or even Whistler one, I would be dead now, because I lived in between Clinton and Smithfield, heart of Klan country. And I would be dead now. I was 9 years old when Emmett Till was murdered. That shows you the climate that I grew up in. If I can just, I know I don't have much time, but I want to just give you some concrete solutions that will help. Now, every Sunday morning in church, we have doctors, lawyers, brick masons, carpenters sitting there retired, that could come into the school and just walk the halls and monitor what these kids are doing. But they sit up at Walmart, not Walmart, but Bojangles, gawking at these young pretty girls, and they can't offer them anything but sweet and low and artificial sweetener. I know this sounds funny, but it's not a funny situation because we're losing our young men. We have to go back to the days of slavery to realize how our young black men were hunted like wild animals. And most recently, school integration, the way it was implemented, is the worst thing that ever happened to our kids. Because when we were in school, we feared our teachers. One black teacher, male or female, could command 40 students, and you sit there like soldiers. And if you miss the timetable, or you talk that you'd come in class, they would bring your behind up in school, girls and boys, and beat you down in front of the class. There was no such thing. The girls wore dresses below their knees. They didn't have a quarter of an inch makeup on because makeup and powder and paint will make a woman where she ain't. Everybody is looking for a real man, but everything they got on is fake. And I'm trying to belittle women, but because my mom was a woman. But everybody is trying to fool somebody.
All right, sir.
No, I need to clarify one more thing because I'm trying to give you some solutions. You need to give me time because I'm a man and I'm trying to give you some solutions because I'm older than any of you on that stage. If you give me a minute and let me finish, I won't be much longer.
Go ahead and finish.
That is one of the problems now. We don't have enough time to express ourselves because we're always on a time limit. And our kids are dying needlessly. What happened in Southeast Raleigh High School is nothing new. This is happening all over the place. And all we do is give a word salad and don't have any solutions. All you have to do to the police chief and to the principal and all the other men here that are older than I am, and I'm 78 years old, is especially the ministers. So we got to do more than quote scripture and collect money. You see what I'm saying? You got to step from behind that pulpit and tell all of these retired people, carpenters, brickmasons, lawyers, whatever, to come into the school and walk the halls. I'm talking about especially black men now, when they don't have anything else to do but sit around and gossip. And that's my phone going up. But anyway, I could go on and on, but I just want to offer some solutions to work. That's one of the main solutions that you could have. It seems like our young men now don't have any leadership. It seems like these young men that are creating all this havoc, got a new gun, new car, living with grandma, and she on food stamp. They don't want anything, don't own anything, and I don't want to paint a broad brush. Don't own anything, but they're behind. That's got a hole in it and it's pointed to the ground and it stinks. And they don't know anything about common sense because guys my age have abandoned being at integration because the white teachers didn't want any black teachers hitting their kids and they took corporal punishment out of school. Now the parents are scared of their children and the teachers are scared of their students. So, just take that one example and go into the churches and anywhere else in the community and put boots on the ground and get these men to come out and walk the halls. That's one solution. I could give a whole lot, but I won't give somebody else a chance.
Thank you. And, sir, thank you for your service. Ma'am?
Hi, my name is Kimberly McGee, and I have been in Southeast Raleigh since 1986 when I moved from Virginia. So I've been living in Fox Ridge, then Sanford Road, raised my children there, and then I moved right up here to Riverbrook. So I have seen this community from when there was no high school. And then my son is an alumni here. So I fought for when they tried to bus our own kids when this school was being built, and they wanted to bus them and didn't even give them a chance to walk to school and fight to even get a walkway for the bridge. So I've seen this community grow. And since I've been here since 1986, I've never seen this community hurt like it's hurting now. I am probably part of the problem. The reason why I say that is because when my son graduated Southeast Raleigh, I checked out. I didn't volunteer, I didn't come back to volunteer. I was like, I'm done with Wake County schools. Like, I'm just glad it's over. I'm done with the fighting, I'm done with trying to fight. But I'm sure I'm not the only person that has checked out. I drive past here every day. I have a business in this community. I drive past it every single day. And I am heartbroken. So I need to be re-educated. And I'm sure a lot of us need to be re-educated on what we need to do. I don't want to point fingers. I want to thank the staff and the faculty for everything you all do. It's tough being a teacher. I left teaching in the early 90s to go back into corporate America because of the bureaucracy and the red tape and all the foolishness and the budget cuts. So I know what it is. And I work with children that were considered risky. They couldn't even go into school settings because they had atypical behavior. And it's tough. So I applaud you all for everything you all do. I think there's a season, the Bible tells us there's a season and a time for everything. And I think we're in a season now for us to open up our eyes and take responsibility, not just the staff and the faculty of the school, but the whole entire community. And I raise my hand. I think I call her the auntie. You asked to raise your hand, I'm one of them that has checked out. So one of the things I'm asking for Southeast Raleigh to do is open the doors for parents like myself, because now I've raised a black son in this community who is still living in this community. Now I have 2 black grandsons that's living in this community. And I'm part of the YMCA. I am part of my community from an outer side, but now I need to get back rooted. So I'm asking the high school to allow us to come back in to be re-educated. What can we do? How can we do it? How can we serve? How can I serve my young females, regardless of color, creed, background? How can I come in and teach them what I know? How can I give them tools and resources? How can I give them a safe space? We talked about mental illness and mental health. How can I give them a safe space to be honest and somebody loves them because maybe somebody today didn't tell them that they're special? Maybe somebody didn't hug them today? What can I do? So I'm asking Southeast to allow us parents, grandparents, business owners, homeowners, property investors, to please allow us the chance to come back and be reinvested in our kids in this community and get it right.
Thank you. Ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Ms. Cosby. I have a child here at Southeast Raleigh Magnet High School. I want to say I appreciate the opportunity to hear from you all and to also share some comments and concerns. And I support everything that's been shared by the community so far, but I do have some questions and some comments for the school board and for the members up on the stage. First, I want to start by saying that there were several code reds last year here at the school, and I know there are code reds in other schools as well in the county, but my child goes here. So my concern is, I know there's a plan in place for security, but what steps are going to be taken to enhance the security measures in Wake County, and what steps are going to be taken to increase the safety of our children and the administrators here at the school? I know there's been conversations about weapon detection, and Wake County has not approved that, but there are at least 10 other counties in North Carolina that have approved that. And Rocky Mount was one of the schools last week that had a student stopped that had a gun in their book bag before they were able to enter the school. And last week's incident was a horrific tragedy, but it could have been a whole lot worse if that student would have had a gun. And so I think about that when I think about how we stop children and students and other people that enter these schools from coming in with weapons, knives, guns. This could have been a whole lot worse. And my question to you all is, what are we going to do, something tangible to make some changes to approve weapon detectors in the school, to increase the number of SROs in the school? Is that something you all can answer today, or is that something that you're working on for the near future? Thank you.
Thank you.
Almost exactly what I was going to say. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Laura Grimes. I'm Devin Barrett's grandmother. And what I have to say, it was a tragedy what happened last week. And I'm so sad, I'm so sad to know that nobody was aware of what was going on. From my information, there was a call to the school that something was going to happen, but it wasn't any action put in place. And my grandson lost his life. I think y'all should have made more. When that got called, it should have been a red code called to the school so the children could have got in their classroom. Everybody, staff, everybody could have been safe. I'm just saying it should have been a little bit more done to what action was taken. I know it's a community problem. I know everybody need to work together, the parents need to work with the school and everything. But when the way the world is today, when you get some kind of action saying something's gonna happen at a school, you can't take that for granted. Because a lot of schools are having through the country, throughout the country, kids are getting killed at school by guns, young kids, older kids, or whatever. So that when that call was made, something should have been put in place for that. And I'm grieving. The little boy family is grieving. All this is a tragedy that should have been took place as soon as they got that call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm a parent, and my daughter graduated from this school as well. And I'm here right off Rock Quarry Road. And I hear everyone talking about what needs to be done and what could be done, what should be done. The facts is that we have the ability to have a safe school without police officers, without metal detectors, because we are not trying to train our children how to live in a facility. We don't want to have a school-to-prison pipeline process in our education system. Now, while we have children, and it's a tragedy, especially if information has been given about an incident that could take place, we need to have protocols set up. And as far as Wake County Public School policy, that is already in place, that you're supposed to have restorative justice, interventions, and preventative services for children who may need help or you know that something's going to be taking place. That's on a daily basis. That's for the smallest of incidents, not just a fight or a weapon that may be in school. So my question is, what are we going to do to actually enforce policies that are already in place so we won't feel like we need more SROs, because the statistics show that we have more people being arrested and locked up, children, because SROs are in school. And majority of those children are black and brown children that are affected by SROs being in school. And I'm pretty sure SRO was on the campus the day of the incident, so what help was that SRO? Like, let's really look at the statistics, look at the facts of what helped children learn and grow in education in the school system. And it's not police, and it's not machinery for them to walk through and feel like they're a criminal every day, to open up their book bag, to show what books they don't have, because we don't have books in the school. So what are we actually doing to make sure that kids feel safe, they feel respected, they know there's consequences to their actions, but they are loved in the consequences? So we won't have kids coming to school feeling fearful of their life because someone want to fight them or someone's bullying them, that we have actual mediation and things set up so they can have conversation between themselves, the students, because they know what's going on more than we do within the school system, on how they can solve their own problems because they have the ability to think for themselves. So if you put things in place where they know that this is the rule, this is how you react, your teacher actually do care about you because they're getting paid what they need to get paid, they're getting insurance that they need to cover themselves to come in here and work and deal with these children. And we also have to give grace to parents and families because we got to work to feed and take care of our children. We can't be on the set on every scene. So what are we going to do so we can have that communication open? Because when you are communicating with us as far as what's going on within the school system, we don't know half the stuff that's going on because this technology is not being used. You could text us what's going on as far as grades. You can text us when it comes to everything, so it's easy access. We have to look at how is everything set up and how is it actually being used that's going to benefit us. Because we have millions of dollars in the budget. Where is that money going? I can tell you where it's going. Not in Southeast Raleigh. It's in Cary, it's in Apex, it's in Fuquay, but it's not in Southeast Raleigh. So when we have these, so parents, I want you to be aware of, there are facility meetings, there are policy meetings for the school board. You can look at it on YouTube. It's on Tuesday evenings, very inconvenient hour at 5:30 while we probably at work or just getting home from work. So we might need to look into how can we have it more interactive so we can actually be at the meetings. And they last sometimes till 9:00 p.m. Like, be aware. But you have the ability to watch it later and to send your board members emails to communicate with them about what's going on in your district. And you can see where the money is going. You can see how much money is not being spent in this school, because I checked it out. And we are not getting the funds that's allocated, the funds and resources, and we want to know why we aren't getting the monies in these schools that need it and the resources in these schools that need it, but it's getting sent in other places in Wake County. This is not rocket science. This is not rocket science. If you know that you have more air conditioners down in this area than you do in the other areas, why aren't those monies being put in this area? Why is it such a hard process for the monies to get put where they're actually needed? So while we hear pissed off about a baby being hurt, 2 babies being hurt, and other kids who experienced it, let's make sure we show up to these board meetings so they can know who we are. If you can't show up, tell somebody else to show up. Tell them to send a text message or email to those who are in charge of making these decisions on how the money is being spent for our kids, and let them know we don't have to beg them to do something. This is our school. We are the power within this community. They don't tell you what to do. They are elected officials. You tell them what to do. That's how the system, that's a look at how it works. Get out and vote for people who are in these seats and make sure we get who we need. And make sure that when you step into this school that you are not stepping in here begging the principal and the counselors to do what they are paid to do. Document everything, email them, let them know what you are keeping a record of what you say you need and what you want your child to have. And know that if you need help, there are parents, there are organizations within the community that are willing to support you, because parents are struggling with mental health stuff as well. We go through stress and not being able to pay bills. And if you need resources, tell your school you need resources too. They should have a counselor or someone or a social worker who can help you get connected to those resources. That's what we're here for, right? So I'm sorry that the families have experienced, the ones who are directly affected to what happened at Southeast. It's not all of what Southeast High School is. I know, because I sent my daughter here because I wanted her to experience Southeast. And I took her from a school that was supposed to be good school to be here in her community, to know what it is to be within community. Make sure that you all know that you are the power, not these people who are in these seats. You are, because you can remove them at any time. Even the principal, if we have to. We can do whatever we need to do to make sure stuff is being done right. So we're not begging and pleading for things that we are supposed to get by right. We are the power, understanding. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
How y'all doing tonight? All right, I am Devin Farrell's older brother. And can we have like a moment of silence, like 10 seconds, please, for him? All right, thank you. I no longer feel safe in the school. I'm a junior, and I haven't seen my fair share of violence in the school. I don't think people really care about us like they say they do. They always put these things like this under the rug. It's not the best of school or anything like that. It's just that I was there to witness the whole thing, you know. And I think like nobody should be able to witness one of their family members or someone close to them dying like that. That's all I gotta say.
Wow. Hello, and thank you, everyone, for being here. And I'm so sorry. It's hard to follow. So again, hello. My name is Heidi Berefkin, and my son is Brody Berefkin. We are new here to the community. He is a freshman, this has been very overwhelming, especially coming in, as a new person, student into this entire area. And I'm going to keep this short because a lot of people have touched on some of my questions. I know that you can't talk about a lot of things, but I was just curious if there is maybe a procedure coming into place that could help alert you to some of the things that are going on in the school, especially since it's the kids who really know what's going on and they use the technology. I know there's all these kind of apps that they can report things to you anonymously. I was wondering if that could be in place and very soon. So the more that you know, the more that you can possibly rectify quickly. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
Hi, my name is Teddy Martinez. That's Teddie. I'm Devin's uncle. So this violence thing is not new to me. I'm a victim of violence myself. I work in a capacity in Paterson, New Jersey. It's funny somebody mentioned Joe Clark because I was part of that school system where he locked the doors and changed the doors, and it was effective but ineffective in some ways. 2 years ago, I don't know if you guys, everybody know that, my family, I feel like, it's not a pointing fingers or anything on the city of Raleigh or Durham or whatever the case may be, but I agree with a lot of the stuff that's being said here because this is not just a Southeast Raleigh magnet school problem. This is a nationwide problem. In about 2002, the CDC deemed violence among the inner city youth as a public health crisis. That's right. And you would think that, that we as the urban community, we would have moved swiftly on that, understanding that it's coming to our front doors. You know what I'm saying? It's, what I find sad is this, right? Because I've been around a lot of forums like this. When I spoke about, I deal with violence every single day. I'm what they call as a hospital violence intervention program coordinator, which I go respond to the hospital for young people who get shot, murdered, and I offer their families resources. Sadly, this is at my doorstep, and I come down, so I drive back tonight to go deal with the family, and then I got to come back Sunday for my nephew's funeral. It's not something that I wanted, it's not something I signed up to do, but it's something that God called me to be here to do. But with that being said, that it's a few things that was going through my mind, over the past couple of days because I met with, excuse me, because there's a lot going on, so, I try to jot down some notes and remember things because, I'm getting older now. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't remember as much as I used to. But I met with two groups, a group called Team Truth 919 and Catch the Kite Outreach 501c3 organizations. And we discussed a variety of things. And my thing is this, that we could all keep coming to these meetings. We do prayer march, we could pour prayer all on the ground. I don't mean no disrespect to any type of religion, anything, but prayer marches have never stopped anyone from dying. It's never stopped. We do prayer. We are pastors that do prayer marches every single Friday. And if you do statistics and patterns, you see that we are high on the violence list. And I'm dead in the middle of what I'm dealing with at school, what I'm dealing with the guys in the streets, or the guys in the jail. So what I did was a few things I want to address, and I'm trying to be as fast as I can. Because I know what you guys are telling. Okay. One of the things is somebody mentioned. I think you, ma'am, you mentioned CIT training. I'm trained in CIT training. I'm also trained where we go. We go into the. I actually train police officers on a crisis intervention training from a community standpoint. Because what I found is that, most of the police officers in our community, I don't know about you guys' community, they're not from our community. So they're not fully understanding what's going on in our community. So you could have SOR officers in school, but they're not understanding what these kids are going through at home, and they're bringing to school with, and it's just counterproductive. So I think that's one thing, that's to train and make sure that they're culturally competent. Second thing is you guys, everybody like to throw around counseling this, counseling that, but I haven't heard one person yet talk about the systematic or historical trauma that our children have been facing for years in this city. And when you're talking about that, you just can't throw a counselor from UNC that's from Cary into these kids' lives. You need community, cultural, competent counselors. Community, cultural, competent counselors. And for those who are not sure what it means, and I don't mean to, be belittling this one, that means that we need people from the community who understand what these kids are going through and bring them and try to help them guide them. My family alone, my sister that stood up here, and forgive me, like I say, I don't want to be long with it. She suffers from 3 types of cancer. 3 types of cancer. She lost her mother, she lost a daughter, she lost her granddaughter, and now she lost her son, all within a 36-month period. And what you guys offer, or we could give her a counselor, that's unacceptable. You make them go to counselor, because you know that our people, we shun away from counselor because it's like a taboo in our community because it's never been introduced to us. So that's irresponsible sometimes on our part as leaders in the community, knowing that, that some people need that edging. The second thing is, and like I said, I'm trying to be brief as possible. We talk about, I'm gonna go talk about statistics. Like we quick those statistics out. I mean, I've been in forums all over, Chicago, everywhere, California, but it's only a few statistics that matter. The statistics that matter today is that there's a young man laying right now in the funeral home in Zebulon that's gonna be buried next Sunday. There's a man that's in the juvenile detention center, and there's another family right in this audience that have to deal with their child being traumatized from being stabbed. And that's not count the numerous of students who have to deal with going back into that gymnasium, every single day, knowing that Kevin blood has been shedded on that gym floor. So now, what I'm saying to try to bring this thing to a close, I think that what I noticed, right, this is, and I love this part, right, because you guys in Wake County Commissioners, you guys get $1.7 billion. Exactly. Wow. And then you also got a raise. You also had a raise increase where the teachers, the plumbers, everybody in the school system, where they had to raise, they got a little raise for, to put money to reallocate, right? But here's the thing, right? I'm not trying to tell you guys how to run your house, but I think that there's some things that there's some things that need to be done to better the house, to better the house cleaning. Like we can sweep the carpet and sweep dust underneath the carpet, but when you get that deep vacuum, it pulls all that dust out the carpet. So we got to pull the dust out the carpet. $2.9 million from support service. Now think about this. Out of the $1.9 billion that you guys got commissions, which you guys got a raise, only $2.9 million is going to for support services. Support services such as this. As the young lady spoke about, I don't know if you guys are familiar about restorative circles. They are very effective. I'm a restorative circle. I'm a trainer for restorative circle practices. It's very effective. Yes, it is. Very. When I say very, it's very. Yes. When you talk about SEL, I don't know if you guys heard of SEL. That's social emotional learning. When you do social emotional learning in the schools, you bring in mentors like credible messengers, people who can relate to these kids on a whole nother level that some of us adults can't. And we bring them into the school system as peer mentors to train them and lift the kids, to lift those children up in the school who we know that have the ability to be the mentors and could be the high-risk interventions within the school. So when something like this break out, they could stand in that circle and say, listen, we need to pipe this down. Or they could get back to the resource officer or call one of the credible messengers and say, listen, this fight about to break out. Again, trauma. For a school like this, statistically, you guys may do a great job. But the thing that I find strange is that they do a greater job at raising the taxes for people to pay for it to get the money back in the school to do a better job. So that kind of confuses me when, I see that and the money's not being so my suggestion is that you guys need to reallocate some of the funding from that support service, so from that $1 billion overall for instructions, which I understand there's books like the young lady spoke about, but I think some money needs to be reallocated. And there's not a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? You figure if you're getting 1.9 million, which has been increased, billion, you figure what's that? Not even 1% to save a kid's life, because what you do, you spend $10,000 a year to educate a student, right? And what you don't know is that that school to prison pipeline is serious, because it's 50,000 years to house them. So in that process, you could save the 40,000 and pour back into the school. If you do that 10 times, that's 400,000 into a program like these programs that I mentioned. It's not that hard, but somebody has to have the courage to step up. And I'm not going nowhere, because I'm tired of my sister calling me talking about something. I got 11 more nieces and nephews down here. And I got to know people all across the country. If I got to bring the country into Raleigh, that's what I'm going to do. That's my next move. I'm tired. I'm disappointed with myself. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a long conversation we should have been had. I don't like to be reactionary because we are so reactionary. We are so reactionary. So the thing is, you mentioned what's the why. My why carried across the country. My why because, I'm a gunshot victim myself. Shot 13 times, 3 different times. I don't want nobody to go through what I went through. I don't want nobody to go through what my sister went through. That's my why. And the number why, I don't want none of these kids that's going to these schools, they're traumatized. So if you don't think that you guys are going to have problems moving forward because of traumatic experience that they faced last Monday, you guys are sadly mistaken. And the next bloodshed will be on you guys' hands. One more thing, if you guys mind, my cousin Juwan, she wanted to bring you guys a copy of the SEL form. It's just an initiative, I want you to give it to them, to the ones on the stage.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my question is, what are you all going to do? What plans you have in place for kids who are terrified to come back to school? I have boys and a grandchild here. They are afraid to come back to the school. And they should not be penalized for being out of school. I have called the district attorney and left a message. My children want to get their education. You all put in place rapid when COVID was going on, online schooling. There needs to be online school for these kids here at Southeast Raleigh, because a lot of them do not feel safe coming back here. As I am a parent, I don't feel safe coming back, sending my kids back here as well. And that should be something done about that. Like they said, mental illness, traumatized, all this stuff is happening. And the school system is like, I love you all because you take care of my kids, you educate my kids. However, you're moving too slow when bully is in place. You're not reacting. I had a child that has a special need that was bullied 2010. It was brushed under the rug. And it was not in the school district. It was on the other side of town where it was mostly white school. It was brushed under the rug. My child today takes several medications, okay? It broke her down because she never experienced anything like that. And it was brushed under the rug, and it's still brushed under the rug today. So I asked the superintendent, when you all get together, there needs to be a plan for online schooling for these kids until they're ready to come back into this building.
Thank you. Sir?
Hello, my name is William Townsend. I am a student and senior at Southeast Raleigh High School. In my 4 years at Southeast Raleigh Magnet High School, I've had a pretty good experience. Of course, there are your occasional altercations, but I never thought the other students, teachers, and myself included, would have to think about the possibility of losing my life just by stepping foot in the school. I want to challenge parents to be there for their kids in this hard time of need and to better educate their children against violence in and out of schools. I want to challenge teachers and admin to connect and build relationships with students, parents, and their communities. and I challenge students to uplift and help craft a better community for the future. Today I have on a shirt that shows some of my biggest heroes, and especially Black heroes, but how can we be heroes for our own community? Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am.
Good evening. I have a freshman that's here, and this is our first time here at Southeast. I have had a great experience up until this point. I commend all of the administrators and teachers that are very diligent in working with the children and creating relationships with them, because I've been able to witness that on numerous occasions. I think the situation that happened was very unfortunate, but there are some things that I feel could have been done differently. I do have a concern as a parent that we were not given notification of things that were happening in real time. I was notified of things that was happening based on my son communicating with me. And I do understand that there are procedures in place, but I feel that in those moments, there was definitely a delay from when the event happened to when parents were notified through the mass communication that went out. So I think that as conversations are being held, how can parents be notified of things that's happening in real time versus a good 30, 40-minute gap because you're trying to figure out the political way to communicate those things that are happening. The second thing that I have an issue with, and I've already spoken with the principal, I feel that it was wrong to have the children come back before providing a platform for the parents to be able to concerns. And I do understand that we want to try to get back to business as usual, but there were lives that were impacted. All of us were impacted by this event. I think it would have been nice as a family to be able to come back and talk about these things before the children came back. We had to wait a whole week to be able to have this opportunity to even express any concerns or thoughts. There are a lot of people here today from the community. One of the things that I know has been very beneficial to the children is giving them outlets to be creative, whether it's through the arts, whether it's through technology, whether it's through sports. I know for those that are in the trenches, they're constantly in need of money and financial resources to provide those resources to the children. So I hope with all of these people that are here today, you have tons of staff that are here. Money is what is needed to help provide these outlets for these children. You have these administrators here. You have checks, write them out, and put some money to come into the school so that we can close the gap from what's not provided through our schools. This is a family. Let's deal with it as a family by ourselves. The other question that I have is that we have a lot of people here, we have a lot of attention on our school, but I hope the ones that are making decisions are the ones that are not afraid to walk around in our neighborhoods. And I want to make sure that those that are making decisions are the ones that really love our kids and are not here just because of whatever political clout that they can get. So I need to make sure that the ones that are here, that are in the trenches, if you can't walk around in this neighborhood at night, you don't need to be at the table when you're making decisions for the kids that are here every day, that love this school. And the other question that I had was in regards to just the children in itself, this whole mob mentality. This is an event that happened outside of our school grounds, and unfortunately, it leaked its way into our buildings. What are we to do as parents when we know that our child is being bullied? What is the correct way to handle that? There were situations that, where did we fall as parents? Where do we call the police? If you have a child that's afraid of being attacked, like what are the proper protocol and procedures to take so that we as parents can make sure that we are doing everything that we can to ensure that our children feel safe? Are we as educators making sure that we're creating safe spaces in these schools? Do they feel that they have staff members that they can come to and talk to that they know genuinely care? I know they do. But again, are there other things that we can do to make sure that we are reaching every kid so that no kid has to feel like they have to come here with a weapon because they feel like they have no other recourse to take? I don't believe that young man came to school with the intention of causing the chaos that happened, but it did. So I charge everyone that's here, please make sure that you're connecting with all of the staff. When these teachers are reaching out to you about concerns that they have about your student and the performance and their behaviors, are you making yourselves available? Are you responding to these teachers and talking points? Are you coming to the school when they reach out to you so that the children that are coming here that are making good choices are not going to be impacted as well? But again, sports, all of the different great things that we're having here, please make sure that you're providing all of those resources as well. And that's it.
Thank you.
Hi, Latricia Townsend. I am a former teacher at Southeast Raleigh as well as a parent of a senior. When I think about Southeast Raleigh, as many of the other speakers have said, I do get a great sense of pride. This school was a beacon of our community. It was something, as others said, that was wanted. The community wanted this school. When we think back to some of our elders who graduated from J.W. Ligon High School, they wanted this school in this community. They wanted it to serve the students that are here. And we are serving those students. And I don't think that enough is said about how well it can be done. However, there are a significant number of resources that are needed to do it and do it well. We serve who we must. Education is required. A sound basic education is what our students deserve. They should not receive anything less. And so when we think about the resources that are provided to this school, we need them, we demand them, we deserve them. Our kids deserve them. We want them to leave here and be prepared. They should be prepared if they are going into the military, into the world of work, if they are going to a college or a university. They deserve that. And so we think about the early days of Southeast Raleigh. I think about when I was here. I was a teacher with Mr. Harden. We walked these walls together as teachers. And what we built here was absolutely amazing. This school was innovative. Our theme was really about technology before technology was something. And so we're thinking back 25 years ago. We're thinking about what that thought and what that feeling was, what that pride of being a Bulldog was all about. And so I honor you, Mr. Harden, for coming back and trying to get that same Bulldog pride going. I see you. I appreciate you, I value you. It is not easy. I know as a parent, I'm active. So whether it's Beta Club induction, football game, volleyball game, you're gonna see Mr. Harden. And so it's not for lack of effort, you're going to see his staff. But what I say to you, even though we see them, they still need help. They still need resources. So I ask the district, please, whatever resources are available, we ask for them. We want them, we need them.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Melanie Harris, and I am here as a proud Bulldog parent. My son is a freshman. I'm also a bus driver for Wake County Public Schools, and I've been doing it for 11 years. Not only that, I also am a member of the NCAE, which is the North Carolina Association of Educators. This situation right here should have never happened. It's so many things that I want to say. I'm angry as an employee and also as a parent and also as a person of the community. I grew up in Southeast Raleigh my whole entire life. I chose to become a bus driver because it was a job that found me. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm just a little upset. To the family that lost their child, my heart bleeds for you. I am so sorry for your loss. To the young man's family who's incarcerated for this act, I pray for him and his family. And to the other student who was stabbed in the midst of this also, I pray for his family as well. But I will say this, and I know what I'm gonna say, a lot of people are gonna get upset, but the truth is the truth. Number one, it's okay to march from the church to the school, but the question is, where have y'all been? You guys sit inside of a church building every Sunday with people that you say you are saving souls, is what you say. And I don't mean to mix school and church, but I mean, they here, so let's talk about it. Number one, y'all need to be more visible in the community. Get out of that church house and get out here and minister to these children. These young men are in danger. I have two sons, a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old, and I am terrified every day. I have to worry about my son getting murdered by another black man or by the police. So my anxiety is at an all-time high. I have worked for Wake County Public Schools for 11 years, and I will say, after the pandemic, this has been the worst. Some of y'all parents, y'all have dropped the ball. It is embarrassing the way that y'all come up to these schools and y'all talk to these teachers and you talk to these bus drivers and the staff that's here to protect your children. Let me repeat that, to protect your children. I have been to schools where I have seen teachers get cussed out because they called you on the phone to tell you about your child. Wake County want a solution, I got one. The kids that are causing the problems, yeah, they need mental help. Yes, they do, they need counseling. But you know what they need? They need to start holding these parents accountable. Period. Once we write a child up on the bus, we gotta wait four write-ups before something is done. That's right. And I just wanna let y'all know that when things happen in our community, because I drive at Root Elementary School, I don't drive for Southeast, but I have coworkers who do, and they were so upset when they came back to work last week. Because had this happened at Panther Creek or somewhere, they would not have opened that school. It is upsetting that the parents, you call them on the phone, and I've even done it myself, to tell them, hey, your child is, maybe they're going through something, I don't know what it is, but can we work together to try to figure out what's going on? You know what a lot of y'all do? And to the parents that I'm not talking to, disregard what I'm saying, but understand what I'm saying. You are the problem. Y'all change y'all numbers, y'all block the school. When you get to the time to come, shoot, half these schools, Southeast Raleigh is right here in our community. The kids that go to other schools, they have to come, the school set up a special setting for them to have parent-teacher conferences. How many of y'all actually go?
Zero.
How many of you actually go? It is embarrassing. And then we talk about our community. Our community, every time you drive down the highways and byways on this side of town, it's people hanging all over the place. Where is the leadership? Where are y'all? Y'all want to show up when something like this happened. This shouldn't have never happened. Bullying is a problem, a huge problem. I see it every day, and it is very heart-wrenching when you have a child. They already come from a broken home. But then when you get them on the bus, because I'm the first one they see and the last one in the afternoon, and it pisses me off that when I come to work, I got to be a mama, a counselor, a preacher, a teacher, a nurse, and a therapist. All of that while driving down the road. And these teachers, they have to do all of these things that I've just named. And y'all want to sit up here and treat them, treat us as though we are a babysitting service, and we're not. There are organizations out here that can help the youth, and y'all need to find a way to get them inside these schools. All you men that's out here that got time to run up and down the street, got time to, sit up there at Bojangles, whatever he was talking about. You need to come down here to the school or go to the school board meetings. Like the young lady said, I'll be there tomorrow. Surely will. I'll be there. They know me. Because it's not right. The school system is not a babysitting service. These are our kids. Either you gonna show up or sit down somewhere. Because a lot of y'all is the problem. And stop placing the blame on everybody, because we have to place the blame on each other. Where are the fathers? If your child don't got a father, your child should be able to look to somebody in the community. I grew up in the 90s. There was never a time that you gonna go out there on the south side in Apollo Heights or Dacian Road, Rock Quarry, Crosslink, or none of that, and you gonna be a little kid out there watching people do things they ain't got no business doing. They gonna tell that kid to go home. Where are the older people at? That's right. They so scared of the kids because the kids will literally jump in your face and threaten to kick your behind. But where are the parents? It always goes back to the core thing. Where are the parents? Where is the church? Where is the communities? Where are the people in the community that can help? Enough is enough. This young man that lost his life. And like they said, a lot of things that happen in our community, it spill over into the school bus. And then it spill over into the school. And then if it happened in this gymnasium, and my son go to school here, and my son cannot sleep. And I'm so pissed about that because he saw what happened. He can't sleep. I call up here and ask, can he talk to somebody? The lady on the phone gonna tell me he have to go up there to the office and request to speak to a counselor. Lady, what you mean? It pisses me off. Because before these school doors open, what you should have did was shut the school down. Not for a week, not for 2. Y'all, they got Chromebooks. They got Chromebooks. This school needed to personally, if you had to do it in sections, make it so that these kids could come and have a place of healing. If not in this school, then somewhere else. I feel that Southeast Raleigh dropped the ball with that. And maybe that wasn't their call. Maybe it was the higher-ups. I don't know. But I know it made me very upset. And when I had to tell my son he had to come back to school today, the look on his face, and I'm up here trying to get him some help. And it's bad enough you can't even watch TV because it's everywhere. That family is over there grieving. They just lost a child. Y'all alert us about stuff that's not even important. But you couldn't, I found out that it was a stabbing because I looked at Channel 11 News app. Why you didn't tell nobody? Y'all do good with the lockdowns. Y'all gonna lock them doors. Y'all gonna make sure them kids good. But when it comes to preventing stuff from happening, I don't know what happens. Y'all drop the ball. Y'all got to do better. Big time. We as a community have got to do better. Southeast Raleigh is a wonderful school, and I'm proud that my son goes to school here. I've been waiting for the opportunity for him to be around his own people. But I wasn't prepared for this right here. So all I'm gonna say is, to all you guys that said something about the Wake County Public School employees getting raises, you wanna know what? We deserve them damn raises. I don't care what you say. We deserve it, because we be taking care of y'all kids when y'all ain't there. Y'all want to talk to us crazy and act like what we do ain't nothing. But we the ones that if something happen, we putting our life on the line. I got to go home to 3 kids that night. The only thing that's protecting me when I'm on that bus is a phone. Yeah, that's right, a phone. A school lockdown happened. I was at my daughter's school. The school lockdown, I didn't know what the hell to do. I'm sorry, and I know I shouldn't be cussing, but I'm so mad. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. The security guard scared me. So what I'm saying is y'all gotta understand, when y'all put y'all kids on them school buses, when you drop these kids off at this school, when they walk through them doors and they start talking to these administrators and them, understand, we love these kids. We might not make a whole lot of money, but we love what we do. So it's either y'all gonna help or sit down. Stop marching and you ain't gonna do nothing but march for right now. Keep marching, keep fixing stuff, show up like you're supposed to. I'm sorry, but I had to get that off my chest.
Don't be sorry. All right.
Y'all have a great night.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, can you come here for a second, please? Ma'am, the mic is yours.
Good evening, board, and good evening, everybody here tonight. My name is Dion. I am Dion Selby. I am a community advocate for the community, and I'm also a parent of a student that does not go to Southeast, but does go to a South Raleigh school. With my community advocacy, I've actually heard a lot of great things about Southeast from the community. So I do want to start by saying that the pride that you all are speaking of from the school is very prevalent in the community, and I think that there's a lot of people from the community that definitely want to protect that. So I want to acknowledge the efforts that are being done in this community from the school, from the staff, from the teachers, because I know that that is a very tiring job, and the efforts do need to be appreciated. But I do want to say that also, with me being a community advocate, I have volunteered at this school. I teach financial literacy to probably a lot of your children. I have a mentoring program. I have volunteered at a lot of schools in South Raleigh, a lot of schools all around Wake County. So I have the joy and the pleasure of having the one-on-one interactions with your children as being their mentor. So I hear a lot about what is actually going on with them personally, because with my mentorship and with my program as a life coach, I support them with counseling and coaching. So I hear the actual issues that they have going on at home. So there are a lot of issues connected to mental illness, but a lot of it is actually connected to social media. And one of the major things that I didn't hear a lot about tonight is the cyberbullying, which if you have a really good relationship with your children, you would know that the bullying is not just happening at school, but it's happening on social media with these things that they're called. Because my goal here tonight is to bring a lot of some other awareness to the community of maybe some things that you're not thinking about with your children. Of course, having conversation with your kids is basically important too, because I take a lot of pride in being able to have a really great relationship with my daughter, where she has actually told me on 2 occasions of where she was being bullied. She was being bullied at East Garner Middle when she went there, and she is being bullied currently at her school now. So as we talk about bullying is a huge problem. Cyberbullying is a huge problem, because what I hear from the kids is what's going to happen to them after school. They're having the threats of getting jumped. It's not just simple teasing or anything like that, but it's projecting that fear of getting jumped, having to fight, defend themselves, but then the fear of it being on social media. So that adds a whole nother layer to bullying, cyberbullying, and that's something that the school really needs to be aware of and have a swift action plan when it comes to bullying. Because even as a parent, I have addressed bullying with the school system on 2 different occasions and had to make 3 different incident reports. Why is that? What's the actual policy or the procedure in place to handle the incident? Why do I have to have more than one conversation with the principal, with the school system about the bullying going on with my child? My next question is, what are the consequences? Why are these children still allowed in the school system? I mean, I hear there's a lot of pride from this school. There's a lot of great things that come out of this school, and I know that there are a lot of parents and a lot of people in the community that, again, like I said, want to protect that, but there still needs to be a much more higher sense of urgency of the accountability and the consequences. Because the incidents that happened with my child, she was still being terrorized by that same student on her bus. Just terrorizing her for absolutely no reason at all. My child is trying to go to school to be focused on her learning, just to mind her business. But yet she's repeatedly dealing with the situation of the bullying and the incidents. So earlier, I know that there may be some people also against metal detectors, but that's my second question, is I am also in agreement for metal detectors. We talk about solutions, but we actually really have to take action. There's a lot of talk about resources, and I am all for resources. I just explained to you how I'm a life coach, and I actively work with students and with my program of mentoring, counseling, coaching, self-esteem, personal development, financial literacy, specific things in my program that I work with students with, but those resources are going to have to take time, and we need something now. Those resources take time to really plant new seeds and change and reform the thinking of these children. Because the images that they're seeing on social media, taking pictures, it's all kinds of things that we see that these kids are doing. So my next question is, with the police system, what is the connecting source or the connecting resource of what's going on in the community to connect that with the school? If a child has some type of incident or report or something going on that has been reported, is there not a connection or a connecting piece to communicate that to the school so that that child can be held accountable? The child and the parent? So really, I just wanted to end this with just the accountability. I do think that, like the parent, the last thing I wanted to say is like the parent or the teacher, the administrator that just spoke, it's also a community issue. It's a lot of us as parents, we have to do better in the community as well. The community has gotten, I would say, out of control with the crime. With the crime and being able to contain that so that it's not leaking over into the school. So that's another way of, like someone mentioned earlier, as far as opening that up to the parents, to the church, to the community, to connect everybody so we're all on the same page and we're all working in our community with the culture that we are familiar with. Because we have a way of doing things in our community, in our culture that we understand. We understand how prevalent the church is in the community, so bring them in. We understand that there are a lot of free resources. You got nonprofit organizations that would come in here right now and work for this school for free. So there's a lot of talk about the budget, which I understand. I do agree that there's some reallocating that needs to be done, but you have free resources. I come here and volunteer. Call in on the nonprofits that are actually right here in your community. There's hundreds that I'm connected to. So you have the resources, we just need to better tap into them. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you, good night.
Thank you. I want to make a quick announcement. I know, yes.
So what I wanted to say is that I know we're starting to lose people. The first thing I'll say is that we are committed to listen to everyone who has something to say tonight. But I do want to remind you that as your comments go on and on, that will cause us to lose people, but we are committed to stay here to listen to every comment that has to be shared. So I do want to remind people that there are some things that we want to share at the end based on what we're hearing. So I wanted to share.
Thank you. Sir?
Good afternoon, everyone. First, giving honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, I do want to say a few words. I want to first off thank this young man for allowing a senior citizen stand in my place, because if I had to wait way back there, I would have fallen out. So thank you very much. Give him a hand. He needs a hand. We need young men like that. I appreciate it. I'm a concerned citizen of the village. And I didn't say the community, of the village. I don't live on this side of town. I'm a father, a grandfather. I'm a retired corporate personnel. I'm retired Wake County Public School System counselor. I am a volunteer. I've been a lifeguard, and I empathize with the family who passed. I was in the 10th grade in high school, and I reported to work and found one of my closest friends in my swimming pool. Climbed the fence overnight, knowing he couldn't swim. And I had to find him. I have never forgotten it. So the trauma, I mentioned that the trauma that happens to our students will last a lifetime. Trust me on that. Some of these kids may not have been involved and didn't see it, but these people have been talking about how afraid their children are coming back to school. They are traumatized. Now, I'm not going to preach a sermon. I'm going to offer a solution. I have been involved with Southeast Raleigh ever since I've been in Raleigh. From the Boys Club, the Salvation Army, Chavis Heights Community Center, Enloe High School, and Sanderson. Now, I'm speaking from experience. I spent a lot of my years working with black youth. And I'm going to offer, and Coach Harden is one of my mentors. He probably remember me at Wake Forest Roseville High School. He was coming in as a current educator into the education system. I was just retiring from corporate America, starting my counseling career as a 9th grade counselor. For 12 years, I was a counselor in the high school. Now, I'm going to offer a model that worked at Wake Forest Roseville High School. I don't know much about Southeast Raleigh, but we had a 9th grade center. That center was geared toward working only with 9th graders. We developed an advocacy program. The students who were academically struggling, had emotional issues, had issues with bullying, any sort of issues, attendance, behavior, they would find and choose a member in that school, an adult at that school. Didn't have to be a teacher. They could choose a counselor, a bus driver. They could choose a cafeteria worker, custodial staff, teacher, counselor, principal. and they would be their advocates to handle their problems real time on that campus at Wake Forest Roosevelt High School. And then at the end of each quarter, the attendance improved, their behavior improved. And when that happens, people build hope. And when you build hope, the academics improved. That model got national recognition. We had people coming from out of state, and Principal Markosh can talk to that. But here's the point I want to make. I still eat Bojangles chicken. I sure do. And I'm proud of it. But I went back to school and got a master's at 50 so I could come into the Wake County public school system. My undergraduate is in accounting and finance. Didn't have to do anything. At Chavis Heights with Satoma Club. I don't know whether people in here might remember this, but there was a time in Chavis when you could not, those little kids could not go to Green Road Elementary or the Boys Club because teens wouldn't come in Chavis to play. I took my motorhome and I took my team all around to those gyms so they could play. The Satoma Club members, black men, became their mentors. And they helped them for 8 to 9 years. I took that same program and introduced it to the 100 Black Men Triangle East chapter. Now this is where it's important. I want you all to listen. We had the students do the same thing they did at Wake Forest. So they had an advocate. They had the support at the school. We asked them, say, out of all of these 15 black men in this room, you choose who you think you can connect with and you bond with. So now we have a counselor or whoever they had at school as the advocate. Then they had a mentor. And the same thing happened. Everything rose. Attendance improved, grades improved, students making an honor roll. I offer this to the board up here. Go back and check with Andrew Markosh, and he'll tell you about this particular model. I would recommend, if it doesn't happen here, see, this needs to happen across the board where our students, 9th and 10th graders, connect. Somebody say, we can't go there and send everybody to a counselor or to an administrator. Let the student connect with a staff person that they already are familiar with. That way they are a stakeholder. That way they have buy-in. And yeah, we have some duties. The other thing that someone mentioned, don't stop coming to parent-teacher conferences. When your student get to high school, that's critical, 9th and 10th grade. In the 9th grade center, I insisted as the lead counselor, I was the only counselor. If the parent didn't come, the advocate would come and the mentor. And then we would call a parent. Where were you? They were working, no problem. We'll help you with your child. With that being said, I'm going to end. Thank you very much for your time. This is a school that's in a village. It takes a village to raise children. Parents, get involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Hi, my name's Tammy Freeman. My son Dylan Freeman is a freshman year. We had lots of choices and we chose to come here because he really liked it. When we toured, it was wonderful. Dylan is a little bit of a special child, and he tends to, he has been bullied in the past. He tends to do things that may be making kids laugh at him and things. And he, this year, had not reported that here. And so it broke my heart last Monday. It broke my heart because usually your children who are in the special needs categories, in those classes, those are the children that are reporting that they are bullied because they are a little different. They're not normal. And the fact that this happened broke my heart. I am so sorry for everyone involved. As a parent, I'm concerned that this happened, that it wasn't reported to me, that my child did not notice there was bullying. Is he being bullied and doesn't know it? Are there other kids here that are being bullied? Was this a one-off situation, or is this a all the way throughout a systemic issue? I think we need a good assessment of our student population. You offer a teenager counseling. I know with my kid, he's going to be hiding behind the door, and he ain't going to be opening it to go to it. I can tell you that now. My child does better if I am not if I try to get him to do something, he will dig his heels in because mom doesn't know anything. Mom doesn't know to go, you need to go talk. That's not my child. I'm not saying there are other children that are going to feel that way, but we need to address this. And I felt that he did come back Thursday. He was there Friday. I did feel that was a little soon. I thought it was a little disrespectful. I also felt that this school was not getting love the whole year. The school board has been very lacking in resources. The principal has had to bend over backwards and beg, borrow, and steal to try to get air conditioning so the schools could stay open. Then we had heating issues. Went the other way. The building was so hot the kids couldn't stand it. So this school has been neglected. And when things are neglected, they wither. And I think it is time, and I am so sorry that one parent had their child not come home to get some attention on this school. Because this school deserves better. Our children deserve better. Thank you, that's all I had to say.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Jordan Sanders. First and foremost, this is a tragedy that we have to come, together on this occasion. But thankfully, for the people that showed up, and to the panelists, thank you for your time, and also to the decision makers that's here in this room, thank you for your time. To the community, I ask that we all must, in this situation, take accountability and action. After tonight, this shouldn't be the only time that we raise concerns or issues or problems, and it's going to be very, very important that this support and these effort and energies continue even after this moment. Also, to the, again, panelists, we also need you to take accountability and action. And as someone that's a former alumni of this school, I was actually a student athlete, and I actually experienced bullying emotionally and physically while I was here at this school as well. So this is a special place to me, and also it is something that I can connect with on a personal level. And what I ask is that in this time, please let us come together and bring in a student success program. We have a lot of theories, we have a lot of ideas, we have a lot of passionate people. But as a business owner now and as an entrepreneur that's in this local community, this school here has afforded me some opportunities that I would have never gained, or resources and connections I would have never had if it wasn't for people like Principal Harden at the time, Coach Harden. And what I do want to say, we do honor and see what you have done at the school and everything. You're not perfect, but however, we can't blame just you. We all have to take accountability and action for what has gone on in these walls. And so And to wrap things up, to give you guys some background, I have worked with the #1 motivational speaker in the country, Dr. Eric Thomas. I currently work with him now. I provide him sneakers and resources as a sneaker reseller and supply some of the major sneaker consignment stores in North Carolina currently. With the access, the networks, and the connections that I do have now, I'm just here to offer you guys my network, my resources to bring in these motivational speakers, professional athletes, and other people that I have in my network who I've spoken with, and they said they're willing to come into this school and assist and help, and then bring in a student success program, which I offer, and I would love, and I presented it to Principal Harden just a few months ago before this incident happened through email. The program will be called A's for J's. That is simply a program that will allow kids come in for about a 12 to 16 week course that they will do for about 2 hours, program after school, and then that can bring additional funding to the Southeast Raleigh community that will come with actually giving kids apparel and shoes for academic success and attendance in the classroom to give them actual goals that they can reach and they can obtain and achieve right now in the short term that will propel them to their long-term future. So again, my name is Jordan Sanders, business owner, entrepreneur in the area, and I would love to come in and assist and bring in my network and bring in my resources to offer to the school to get the much needed funding that's needed and bring in those mentors and those people that these students can directly connect with so they can actually see change and success right now.
Thank you. Ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Tamara Mitchell. I've been a Southeast parent since 2015. I currently have my 4th child going through this school. She's a freshman, so y'all got me for 4 more years. Go Bulldogs. I am here because this school means a lot to my family. As I said, this is my 4th child in a row here. While I don't have answers and solutions for how we solve this issue, I do have some suggestions and encouragement for parents. You know, my mother used to say, idle mind is the devil's playground. She believed in keeping us busy. So we have instilled that in our children. They, in this school, have participated in band, swim, Japanese club, theater, tech theater, beta club. Our children have been involved. One of the things I wrote a big line under was buying into the community and being accountable. We as parents, if we can get our kids involved in what the school offers, they'll have buy-in to actually being here. They'll care about what their grades are so that they can stay on the golf team, or whatever activity it is that sparks their interest. There's enough going on here that we could keep our children educated, busy, learning new skills, making new friends, and actually caring about the school, themselves, and each other. I would just really like to see more of an emphasis on that. I'm really glad to see this crowd here because over my years in this building alone since 2015, I can't tell you how many parent meetings there are where it's empty, 3 parents show up. You join a committee for something that your kid is doing and it's the same 5 parents doing everything, trying to keep it all afloat. Everyone in here could log on and be a volunteer within Wake County Public Schools. Log on, pick this school, pick whatever elementary school your other kids go to, get involved. This is how we do our part to make sure they're learning all of that they can, learning and being safe. You know, not that my child isn't concerned, we are, but my child also knows I'm here. So if something's going on, either mom's on her way or let me reach out to mom really quick because she's gonna be here. Please, please be active. The school needs more participation. It needs more of us to keep it going. Our theater department should be thriving and busting at the seams with the amount of talent that's in this building. The band is hosting a talent show next week. There should be a lot more children signed up than what we currently have. I know these children can sing and TikTok dance all over the place. We see it all the time. Come and do it and earn some money. But be involved in what your school is doing. Show up to the events. Do more than sort of just showing up and getting through the day. I really would love to see them have some buy-in. Two things that I actually do have for you. One of my students is, I think she was class of 21 here. She's at Carolina right now. And one of the things that's mandatory for her to get her degree at Carolina is she must participate in a certain number of school activities, school-run events. It's mandatory. They say, listen, if you're gonna get this Carolina degree, you have to have buy-in to our community. Now, she's not interested in baseball, but went to one of the, she's got to check the boxes. She just wants to do the academic stuff. But they're forcing her to buy into this Carolina community. It's not just show up, do the work, get your degree, and have a nice day. When she leaves, she'll be able to say, I attended X, Y, and Z, I participated in these 3 clubs, even though it was required, but it gets her to buy into that community. And another experience, something that we could possibly consider. I went to Bennett College in Greensboro, a wonderful school for young women. And a program that they have in place is actually a big sister, little sister program. We're co-ed here, so we could possibly consider big brother and little sister, sort of a thing. And what they do is they pair a junior with an incoming freshman. They do it at the beginning of the year. And essentially, you now as a freshman have an upperclassman to help show you the ropes, show you the bulldog way, show you, how we do things around here. When you're confused or you're having an issue, there's an upperclassman who already knows how these things are supposed to go, who can help you navigate, okay, we'll go talk to Coach so-and-so, we'll talk to Mr. so-and-so, so that we can help you get that resolved. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. So again, you start off as a junior, you get a little sister or somebody that's a freshman, you move up as a senior, they're a sophomore, and then when they become a junior, they get their own little brother, little sister. It's a really, really wonderful program that has helped a lot of young women having resources, and people stay in touch many, many years after they graduate. You now have tools and people in the community to reach out to because your big brother or your big sister now works for X, Y, and Z company. So that's all I have. I really just would love to see us all do what we can to get involved and do more to help the programs that are here. My heart goes out to everyone involved. That last week was just absolutely devastating. Having been here since 2015, we didn't have anything like this. I had not been concerned about it all of this time, and when we talk about it as a family, we just pray for everyone that's involved and hope that we're able to move forward and get back to that bulldog pride and that bulldog spirit. So as Hardin says at the end of his morning thing, I'm all in, are you all in? We need you all to be all in. We need more of that. All right, thank you.
Thank you. So I want to ask a favor of the speakers, because each speaker is running about 5 to 7 minutes. And so with that, we'd probably be here till after 10 o'clock. And so what I want to do, and you other speakers, you have to tell me if you're okay with this, that we have 2 more speakers to share, but I have administrators that are throughout the building. And so if you are amenable to that, I would want you all to go and meet with one of the administrators. I'll have them to come down front. And then that way, whatever it is that specifically you want to share, we'll be able to do that, because I know we're hearing a lot of the repeat information, but I do want people to be heard. But I see that people are leaving the building, and I don't want us to end that way where the building is empty in the end. So speakers, are you okay with that? 2 more speakers, and then my administrators will come down.
3 more. 3 more.
Yes,
Okay,
because what I was waiting for is Alex, who is our student
So
vice president, SGA.
We got a student?
Yeah, give us 1 minute. I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, can we take it to a limit of 2 minutes?
Oh,
And then
1
if you have
minute.
something more in depth to speak about, you could get with one of the administrators.
Okay, so if we do 2 minutes, then we're gonna depend on the people in line
Yeah,
to
2 minutes is fine.
police each other.
Do we have a,
So,
you said the question?
Okay.
Do we have,
let's try that.
I'll wait, I'll give up my spot if we have a student that wants to speak, and I'll speak to an administrator. Do we have a
So-
student?
So let's try this as a solution then. If you are willing to speak to with an administrator.
I am.
Then I would say that you come here. We certainly want any students that are here to speak. And then everybody else, if they will limit themselves to 2 minutes, then I think we can have everybody that is heard. So if you are willing, if you are in line and you're willing to speak to an administrator, then I'll ask you that you come to this side here. And then have our students. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. And then we'll go with the others. Okay.
All right, let's go here first, and then we'll finish off. We'll come to you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Anaya Moore, and I'm a student at Centennial Middle School, and I have a sister who is a senior. She goes here. She's the graduate of 2024. My brother graduated class of 2022, and I have a younger brother who may go here. But I was wondering, why do I have to worry about going to school if I'm safe or not, instead of worrying about my future and getting a degree and like passing my grades, instead of, do I have to worry about if somebody's gonna hurt me today, am I getting hurt, or like who's gonna do what today, and what do I have to worry about if I have to tell my mom like, hey, we're in lockdown, or someone got hurt, we can't leave, like what's gonna happen to us? So if I can't come to school to focus on what I wanna learn about, why do I come to school at all if I have to worry about if I'm gonna get hurt, or why somebody's doing something today different, and what's gonna happen if we meet one day and someone hurts me, then what? And what are y'all gonna do to help protect us from doing that and getting hurt at school?
Thank you. It's good to see you again.
Yes, sir. Good evening, all. My name is Alexander Williams, and I'm the SGA body president here at Southeast. I'm also a senior. I just wanted to first give a quick updated status on the student body. I'll say that after the events, obviously it took time for us to process the incident, but I can say that when we came back, there was a emptiness, not only in attendance, but in spirit. As SGA body president, I feel it's my responsibility to come back and build a morale, but I can say that even myself, I didn't feel comfortable even saying Bulldog strong, Bulldog proud, like I usually do in the hallways. Usually I do it in jest or to kind of get a laugh out of somebody because they think it's kind of funny, whatever. Kind of be obnoxious in the hallways, but I legit did not feel genuine. It felt disingenuous to even say that. My mother, she said that I came home, she said, you seem different, like, are you okay? And I'm a man of faith, I got a good head on my shoulders, but I did feel weird. So I do ask all parents, please ask your students, even if they seem fine, if they seem a little off, please ask them, are you okay? Because she asked me, she said, Alex, you're Alex, but did you really deal with it? And I don't think I did. It took me a couple of days to kind of process what happened, because I had talked to Devin a couple of times, but it wasn't like a strong connection. I've met with Jermaine, I'm the captain of the football team, so I've gotten to speak with him. But I didn't have a strong connection with them, but just to know that someone that I've talked to, seen in the hallway, because everybody knows me, they see my face all the time, somebody that I knew passed in my vicinity, that bothered me a lot. So I do ask that you all please go home and address that one more time. Just ask them, are you okay? Have you dealt with it for real? I don't want to go over the time limit. I also want to say, y'all know that y'all teens are very hormonal. So small things become very big things at times. So this situation, I feel, from what I do understand, could have been dealt with very early. So I please ask that you acknowledge and address everything that you hear your students say when they go home. Those small things that you may think are minute or irrelevant can become very important and vital to the rest of their lives later down the line. I've seen my brother, who was a graduate from here, in 2017, I've seen him take things from the household and he brought it into school and created chaos. I've seen that happen. Now myself, I was able to find, I have good coping mechanisms, so that wasn't something that I had to deal with at Southeast, but I've seen it happen from my own siblings, so I know that it happens in this school. And I also want to ask that all parents, I'm not a parent, I have about 7 to 10 years before I'll be a parent, but I do ask that you all encourage your students, say you can, you will, if you want to. A lot of these students do not believe that they have purpose in their lives, and I believe that they do.
Ms. Mitchell, give me 15 seconds. Ms. Mitchell said, she quoted the reference from, a scripture from Proverbs that says, idle hands are the devil's workshop. These students don't believe that they have a purpose, so they find whatever they can to get involved in. That means in the streets or in a gang, they find something to cling on to that ain't good. So please encourage them to find a mentor or find an activity, find something that they can cling on to. And lastly, I knew somebody who, we didn't have the best relationship, actually kind of volatile. I remember one time my sophomore year, I was talking about SGA, I was talking about doing certain things and captainship and being a leader. And he said, and I said, we gotta get involved. He said, Alex, everybody ain't you. I said, yes, you are. You are. You are like me. I'm from a single mother household. I was raised in poverty. You're like me, and we can do it together if you want to. And I say, I don't believe he believed me. I don't think anybody else told him that, because right now he's incarcerated for a violent crime. So it's just, I need y'all to please encourage your students that they can and they will if they want to. Thank you.
Okay, we're now going to move to the new expectation. We're going to try to hold the comments to 2 minutes. Ma'am?
My name is Olga. I am proud mom for one boy for autistic. He stay in the special class. My question is, when my son he's come to the gym, he's come only him. There's nobody come. Sometimes nobody come with somebody, but my problem is my son he's talk a lot only for Tommy Jerry. He loves Tommy Jerry. He's 19 years old, and sometimes only say, I'm not stupid, I'm stupid, I'm not stupid. Just only say that one. The problem here is everybody talk for bullying. My son, he never understand the words, ¿cómo se dice? Palabras de doble sentido.
Okay. He doesn't understand. He basically doesn't understand when words have more than one meaning.
And mi miedo
My fear
is somebody attack my boy because they think my son he say that's stupid. You understand me?
what she really meant is that she's quite afraid that because the way her boy acts, because he's an autistic student, he's 90 years old, he acts silly. You know, sometimes he says, I'm stupid. No, I am not stupid. And that makes other students laugh, but sometimes that also annoys other students. And that can cause, or she's afraid that her child is gonna be hurt or, a bit by another student because they feel that, well, we don't want this kind of annoyance here.
I understand, and her class is 3 assistants, but no teacher. My question is, what can we do for help parents with the special kids?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Harold Millette, and I grew up in this community. I lived right there on Creeks Road, across from the school. I sent 4 kids to this high school. 4 of them graduated from high school, college, master's degree. In fact, I moved when this school opened up from there to another neighborhood to send them back to this school. I say all of that to say this. This school has the ability to transform its students. We need to help with it, and quickly I am offering myself as well as about 20 men who are willing to come to this school on a daily basis to help with whatever we can do. We've been here before. We'll be here again. We got your back. Students, we got your back. If we are here, we can form the relationships that's needed for people to prosper. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you could talk with Cedric and give him information about the volunteers that you have, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I prepared something, and so I'll just pass that on to y'all. I'm just going to read a little bit and then speak from my heart. I always start with, it's another amazing day in paradise, because if you know me, you know I'm always going to say that, because despite the reason we are here, we can choose for today to be another amazing day. I want to express how broken my heart has been over this entire experience. To the families of Delvin Farrell, Taekwon General Jr., and the other young person who is hospitalized, I express my apologies for the ways your lives have been dramatically and devastatingly altered. To all those who witnessed or are impacted by this event in some capacity, my heart goes out to you. And I am here in hopes that I fulfill the request I read from Mr. Farrell's family, that his death will not be in vain. And I haven't heard many people say any of these young men's names, so I want us to remember that they're real people. My name, I'll tell you my superhero name, because my superhero name is Mama Kai, because I found my superpowers being the mom and student of a young black male superhero. And the reason why, the point of my remarks was where violence stems from. My remarks are actually called the science of violence, because we need to understand where that comes from. I do want to just offer 3 things that may seem outside of the culture that we want to keep throwing in, but maybe actual solutions. I think 1, in order to change the culture of the school, that there needs to be some focus on gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful gift, but one of the things that I truly believe is that if you want to change your life, you've got to change your mind. And that's not just about making a different decision. It's actually about changing the way your mind operates. We come into this world with this idea naturally from our instincts to protect ourselves. So we are mindfully, we are always negative thinkers. But if you can start having your whole culture, your whole community, putting out grateful statements every day, every student, every faculty member, every person, you begin to change the culture, the feeling that's in this school. Another thing that I wanted to say is that there's a professor by the name of Tavarius Felton. He has a business called Clouded Mentalities. His business has created an app so that people can go on it and they can actually check into their organization, whether it's a school or a business, and talk about and write and check in about how they feel. So you can actually determine how the organization feels based on this app. It doesn't give people, it doesn't point anybody out in particular, but it will give you an idea of what's happening in the culture of your of the school. The last thing I want to speak on is the term bulldogs. If you are familiar with any kind of dogs, you can have a bulldog that's tenacious, and you can have a bulldog that's bullied. That's funny and clowny and all that stuff. It all is based on how they are trained. And that is the same thing with each one of us. We will do what we have been trained to do. And children learn by imitation. So with violence on the TV, violence on video games, violence in movies, violence in the home, where do you think that violence is going to end up in? It's going to end up at the end of a gun, a knife, in words, and in fist. And so I just encourage you that in order to change something, you've got to change the direction. And bulldogs can be tenacious, but they can also be sweet, kind, and loving. And I would just encourage you that you can be both and have a positive impact on this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am.
My name is Nikki Parton Wood, and I've been part of the Bulldog family since 1997 when the doors opened. My little sister was one of the first graduating class. I had 4 children, even from last year, who graduated from Southeast Raleigh High School. I'm wearing my Bulldog shirt. I still have one more child to go, but just wanted to quickly say this. We hear a lot about how parents need to really be involved. Parents. I'm from Southeast Raleigh. I was born and raised on Sanderford Road. And sometimes parents go through their own struggles, which could prevent them from volunteering because they may have a tarnished record. So if you want the parents from Southeast Raleigh who are really trying to be there for their children, who may have stumbled or had difficulties in their past, and they're trying to make it right and trying to be there for their children, but they can't because they have a criminal background. So keeping it real, what can we do, or how can that be addressed, that parents who did whatever they need to do, turn over a new leaf, trying to help their own child, but can't come into the classroom because they are not allowed to due to a record or sort. I'm not saying a violent crime or anything like that, but just something stupid. They should be able to come in and be able to volunteer and help. So you want to put the responsibility on the parents. You have a lot of parents here who want to be supportive of their children who just cannot. And if you guys can address that and look into maybe being a little bit lenient and maybe having a conversation with a parent who has a criminal background but who wants to be there for their child. I was here when you couldn't even get into the football field because it was so packed, full of community and parents. But now, the way things are changed, folks just can't, they're not gonna be able to come. So if we could just look into that, I think that you'll be surprised at how many people wouldn't mind coming to the school and not have to worry about being ashamed of their past because they're just trying to help their child.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Ann Quinarda Lee, and I am the Executive Director of I Am Light. We are a faith-based nonprofit, and we cater to male mental health. I was a school counselor for about 10 years, and I saw a lot of things that worked well in our school as far as having an app or a number that the students could text. When they heard of something that was going on, our students knew that they could come to us. We were very personable with them. We also filter emails. We did a lot of different things to help the kids report things to us, and we caught a lot of things. I was in Alamance Burlington School Systems. Also, with my boys, I saw a lot of them who struggled to communicate their emotions. And so it was like starting from scratch a lot of the times of them even knowing that they have emotions to work through. And so that's what a lot of the things that we work on in the nonprofit when we have the program. It's going to be at Sanderford Road Community Center. It was on Saturdays. Now it's on Thursdays, every Thursday from 6 to 7:30 or 7:45. And yeah, so we'll just pour into the kids. Also, if you see the kids, it doesn't have to be someone in the school or the faith community. It could be anybody who was in this room. A lot of them are out there, right there in the Food Line parking lot at Crosslink, and they're walking all the time. And they're very, depends on how you come at them. All I do is I stop them for a few minutes and talk to them about self-esteem, what they're going through, what does mental health look like for them, and they're very receptive, with someone speaking life into them, because a lot of them do have low self-esteem. They have trauma and all of these things that are going on with them, and there is an agenda from the enemy to take out our young men and our males. I talk to them every single day, and our men are struggling. Over 70% of suicides are from males in this country. And that should tell you something. So if you have a male in your life, which everyone does, check on them. I've talked to anyone from politicians to cops to everybody, and everybody needs help with stress management and understanding their mental health, especially mental health in the justice system, mental health in the school system, the community, everywhere. We need help with that and raising more awareness with that. So I am willing to offer my services as I have before. And yeah, I'm available. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Travana Coates. I graduated myself personally in 2017. My sister graduated in 2015, and my brother is graduating in 2025. I just wanted to come up and say something. I was sitting out in the crowd. I didn't hear, I might have, missed up, but I heard a couple alumni, but I really wanted to speak from the point of when I came here, we used to joke about how this school was locked down like Fort Knox. Like nobody could go anywhere. If it was lunchtime, you only could be in the lunchroom or the courtyard. That was it. You couldn't go off campus. You couldn't do basically anything. And that didn't make me feel like, like I was in a lockdown place. It actually made me feel safe. So what I was wondering is, what has changed since then? I know it's been about, 7 years, but what has changed since then and how we can implement it now? Because when I came here, I went through, I think, 3 or 4 different principals, basically a principal every year. We could never keep anybody in here because I guess they thought we were that bad. But it's all good kids that go here. I never regretted my experience going here. Every time there is an instance of where I can speak my voice as an alumni, I make sure that I come back and I say something. And my brother is, he's a little bit in the active crowd, and he did feel afraid coming back here. And I just wanted to make sure that, my voice was heard for him because he's at work, but I wanted to make sure that we have something that is done and that is implemented so that these kids feel safe. Because me personally, I got in a fight senior year, one of the first ones, and it was a product of bullying. A girl was bullying me and she ended up punching me in the face, but in about 29 seconds, it wasn't even 30, the administration was running through there and they separated it, and it was a no tolerance policy, and she was out of there. So I'm just hoping that something like that can be implemented again, and wondering why it ended in the first place, but yeah.
Thank you.
All righty, good evening. I'm setting my timer right now so I can adhere to what we have been requested. My name is Dr. Valencia Hicks Harris, and I am a Raleigh native. And honest and truly, I would love to say I was a Southeast Raleigh Bulldog because I begged my parents to allow me to come here, but because my mom was a teacher in the system, I had to go where she was. But I still feel like this is home. I feel like this is home because I was a part of the task force when Southeast Raleigh first opened in 1997. Though I wasn't age appropriate to attend high school, my aunts and uncles made sure that I was in place, that we fight for educational equity. And now, as an older, more seasoned person, I recognize and know that equity equates to value, and making sure that our students and our families know, especially our Black and brown youth, recognize and know that they have value, that we see them, that we hear them, that we feel them, and they have a sense of belonging. So as I was standing in line, I contemplated sitting down because it hit like an hour, but too often what happens is when we get tired, we sit down. Too often when we stand too long, we quit and we give up. So I stayed in line because I want to offer my services. I have a nonprofit organization, and I am connected to a plethora of organizations that are willing to support Southeast Raleigh High School and other schools in our Wake County school system to really help and advocate for our youth. Tonight has been powerful. Truly, as a qualitative researcher, listening is power. Listening is what we need to do, especially to our young people. So I ask that you listen to your teachers as well, because the greatest fear that we have as educators is looking on the TV screen and recognizing it as one of our hours that we lost. And that happened to me last week. So I recognize the impact, and especially as a mother of a Black son, I recognize what we are fighting against. So again, I just ask you, Wake County Public School System, to figure out a way to allow more community members, more nonprofit organizations to enter in the space, because we see the value in our youth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Hello, my name is Kima Coates. I'm actually her mother, and my son, her brother, does attend school here. And I just wanted to say that as parents and as educators and members of the community, that we have to come to a place where we stop treating children as inanimate objects and allow them to have feelings and express their feelings and their emotions, because a lot of what we're talking about being bullied and so forth and so have you, a lot of times doesn't even make it home unless your child is being outwardly beat up, where you know something is going on, because the children aren't coming home and conveying those messages or relaying those messages to their parents. So I just feel like, in an effort to do my part, I feel like everyone needs to be held accountable, not only the parents, not only the administration, not only the student, like we all as a group need to be held accountable when it relates to the children, because that's the only way as a village that we will be able to reach them and encourage them to reach the heights that they can reach during this time of turmoil. So.
Thank you. Sir?
Yes, my name is George Austin, and I am from Raleigh, North Carolina. I grew up on the south side of Raleigh, and in 1972, when they integrated schools, I moved over to the southeast side of Raleigh. And I just want to say, and you know, they say hurt people, you know, and I grew up, my father was a military man, and so he taught me how to defend myself. So when I came off the south side of Raleigh and came over to the other side of Raleigh where it was integrated and everything, you know, I defended myself. And it wasn't long that, you know, I had a reputation being able to defend myself from people. They called me Little Tony because I was small, but I was able to defend myself, and not the people, not the students, but the teachers seen that as a problem. And I got kind of lonely. And I got out of school one day, and I didn't go to my parents and tell them anything because I had been telling them, and I didn't think that they were hearing me. And I lowered all my stuff out the window, and I ran away. And I'm saying this because, see, my journey took me a whole lot of places. I didn't graduate high school. I ended up getting in some trouble, and I went into the Department of Correction, where at that time I did attain my GED. I became a teacher's aide. I certified myself in communication, leadership, personal dynamics, and public speaking. And, you know, I was told, you know, I was told on yesterday, you know, you have to say what you have. You got talents and gifts, and you need to put it out there and let people know. My thing is this. I'm going to end this with a poem. I am a published author. That's who I am. Whether society wants me to say that or not. I'm not advocating trying to sell anything. This is who I am. I wrote this book, Twist the Lies, because, see, I know what it's about. See, you know what a dangerous person is? An educated black man is a dangerous man. Now, I'm going to put this to you, and I'm going to leave you with this. I wrote a poem in this book. We was talking about the parents and what they're doing and what they're not doing. Some of you may not be as old as I am, but the ones are. Back in 1972, there was a commercial used to come on TV. It's 11 o'clock at night. Where's your child? Do you remember that? Okay. 11 o'clock at night, where's your child? But see, when I had to get mine the hard way, and I'm saying this because I'm trying to encourage young people that they don't have to go down the road I went down, because you can still get your well-due. You just got to stay in the process. There are bullies out there. I was being bullied, but I won the bullets off of me, and the teachers got against me. But I want to leave y'all with this. It's a poem that I wrote, and it's called Think About It, because I done lived all over the country. Sometimes it's hard, it's so unfair. It's a cold, cold world. Does anyone care? Have you stopped at any time just to look around? We're living in a time called the last countdown. So many people trying to rule the land for all the wrong reasons, you understand? Living in the fast lane are just getting high, not stopping to think as the world passed them by. And for so many years, we cherished the dream with people to look up to like Dr. Martin Luther King, who stood for us all in a fight to be free, crying, why, oh, why won't they let us be? Then given the chance to stand on our own, we decided somehow that freedom was wrong. We cherished no friendship, had no desire to love, just a power and a dollar and a craving for drugs. Just brothers killing brothers and sisters running the street, having little education and their minds are weak. Babies born addicted and the parents crying why? Because they didn't stop to think, they were chasing a high. Getting AIDS from the needle, brain diluted from the rock. PCP has got you hallucinating and crime rate just don't stop. It's a mad, mad world, and there's got to be a change because normal people don't have a chance before half the world insane. It's a sad, sad situation, but you best believe it's true. We're in the final countdown. The next count could be you. Think about it.
Thank you. Sir?
Good afternoon, how everybody doing? Good evening, I'm sorry. Good evening.
My name is William Hill. I'm a school teacher, a special ed teacher at Cardinal Charter Academy. I worked at Wake County Public Schools for 11 years. Last 2 years I left. I have a mentor program called Boys to Men of Wake County. I've been working in the Wake County Public School system for the past 12 years, mentoring young men and young women for 11 years by myself. Recently, the city of Holly Springs in Wake County heard about my program, and they gave us a grant where that allowed me to become a nonprofit organization. So I'm willing to come on this side of Wake County to have my program and to render my program. I have young men, they all come from all different ethnicities, white, black, Hispanic, so it's just not designated to one particular ethnicity. All kids need mentoring. So I'm here to render my service to help out. I just need some support and resources because I've been doing it for the past 12 years by myself. So only imagine if I had resources. I have kids in Fuquay High School, Willow Springs High School, Holly Springs High School, where I started it in Holly Springs High School in 2011. I got kids in South Garner High School, Willow Springs, if I haven't said it already. So I'm already doing the work that we're trying to figure out what to do. I just need some help and some support. That's it.
Thank you. Sir.
Good evening. My name is Sean Wilson. I'm former Southeast Raleigh resident. I'm a father. I am a minister, formerly a youth minister at a church, and I'm also a business professional. I had on a tie, but it was hot, so I took it off. The air feels a lot much better up here, but as ministers, we do the hard work, especially youth ministers. I've had to sit by the bedside of families who have lost the lives of young ones right around high school age. I've also had to have those tough conversations with parents when their child is turned up pregnant and they don't know how to explain it to them. I've had to talk to young youth who are considering suicide or hurting themselves. Those aren't easy conversations to have. And also as a father of 2 young boys, I pray every day when I drop them off that they would be kept safe from danger inside the school and outside of the school. And also as a business professional, I work with organizations and advise them on solutions that I think would help benefit them. There are a couple comments about the church, the community, and the parents. So the church has always been where it has been. The issue, in my opinion, is that on Sunday, parents will allow their children, and children with the approval of their parents will prioritize AAU sports, or they'll prioritize working or other engagements over coming to church on Sunday. And so if we only get them on Sunday for 2 hours and an hour on Wednesday for Bible study, that's 3 hours out of the week. Like, what more can the church do than what it's already done? And when there's an incident like the one that happened last week, the church did what it is supposed to do. It responded. So I was with the church leaders in the community on Sunday when we marched from Word of God to Southeast Raleigh, and we prayed, and we let the community and the students know that we're here to be an advocate and a resource for them. So the church can only do so much. Could it do more? Yes. Should it do more? Maybe. But again, we can't drag parents and children out of their houses and bring them into church. That's something that the parents would have to do. And parents are tired. I have 2 children. I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I come home at 6 o'clock, and then I have to find time to pour into my children, invest in them, and spend time with them, only to do it all over again. So, if you think about single parents who are having to do that by themselves, it's difficult. So parents are tired, and they can't do this on their own. When you talk about the community, why isn't the community present, in the lives of these children? When's the last time you tried to discipline, another parent's child? Sometimes if you do that, you might have a fight on your own hands. So, there's only so much that the community can do. So the church is a resource, the community is a resource, and the parents can only do what they, can do. But at the end of the day, they're all limited to their capabilities. So, I think the overarching theme is that it takes a village. So the church has work it needs to do, the community has work it needs to do, and parents also have work that it needs to do. So I didn't want to do this, but I work for a company called Mid-Atlantic Data Corporation, and we provide different solutions for schools and other businesses to ensure that they're safe from threats, including weapons detection systems. And there are millions of dollars of grant money out there available for schools in the event that they want to pursue that option. Outside of that, my company is always looking for opportunities to pour into the lives of young black men, because I've found that sometimes what makes the difference in a child's life is that someone with a familiar face walks up to them and puts their arm around them and cares. So we always look for opportunities to mentor, to speak, to talk about entrepreneurship. Next year, we'll be adding, 2 opportunities for internships just to learn more about running a business. So, 2 things. If you are considering additional solutions, I ask that you would consider Mid-Atlantic Data Corporation. If not, then at least utilize us for the resources that we have on a mentorship level. A lot of people in here said that they're ready to pour into the teens, and we're ready to do the same. So if anybody wants a business card, I will happily pass that out. But I also want to say that God be knowing, because I didn't want to say anything, but my friend texted me at the last minute and said that I trust that God will give you the discernment to say what needs to be said. And since there have been so many comments about church, community, and parents, I felt it necessary to say something. So thank you all.
Thank you. Sir?
Good evening. My name is Alan Marshall, and I'm with William Hill from Boys to Men. And I'd just like to say, I've seen the video online of what happened. I was just saying, it's crazy because they had time to film that video, but they didn't have time to go tell the teacher or something, because no one was there. No one was there to pull them apart, and I feel like some of the students should be held responsible about what happened.
Ma'am.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Zulima, and I am a recent graduate from Wake Early College of Health and Sciences. I'm also a community coordinator with the Resiliency Collaborative, and we work with students who attend this community and who also attend this school. I heard Mr. Harden say that the school is adding new staff members and new strategies. My question is, who are those staff members? Are they more RSOs or metal detectors? Doing that is putting a Band-Aid over a deep-rooted systemic issue going on here. Our students should not come to school every day feeling like they are criminals. If we're going to talk about adding more staff members, let's talk about social workers. And let's talk about Black and brown social workers and multilingual social workers, in addition to hiring peer-to-peer support specialists. The truth is that sometimes young people don't want to talk to staff. Sometimes young people want to talk to other young people. Let young people be a part of the solution. People in power love to make decisions behind closed doors and say, we're for the youth. Well, if you really care about the youth, give them the seat at the table that they deserve. Lastly, I want to say that you'd be surprised how much caring can make a difference. Our students deserve to go to school and say, someone here loves me. Nuestros estudiantes se merecen ir a la escuela y decir, aquí alguien me ama. And to all my believers here, it's time to talk about social justice in the church. Let me say that again. It's time to talk about social justice in the church. In the Bible, there's 2 commandments that say, love God, love people, and that includes not just loving people that look like you and have the same lived experiences as you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Gary. I'm a teacher here. I actually came in 2005 with Principal Harden. I can tell you that there's never been a time that I felt unsafe in the building. I do believe that there are a couple things that hinder us. One of them is the ability for Principal Harden to suspend some of the kids that we don't necessarily need to have in our building. Sometimes those suspensions are overturned. Kids from other schools are sent over here after they get kicked out of Broughton or somewhere else. It makes it very difficult for him to do his job when he has to deal with issues like that. I also want to add Officer Counsel. Her daughter graduated from here, who was one of my track athletes. So for those who may feel like the SRO officers are not necessarily from the community, her daughter graduated from high school here, so she's very vested, and she does a very good job for us, as well as Principal Harden. So he needs the support of the board. I was here when John Wall came in, who is my principal that was at North Garner Middle School, and however it worked out, he was able to come in and clean up. When I say come in and clean up, come in and get rid of some of those kids that we didn't need to have in our building. But for some reason, Principal Harden's hands have been tied. So I'm gonna ask that you untie his hands and let him do what he needs to do for our school. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Kimberly Mukhtarian, President of Save Our Sons and Executive Director of Raleigh Police Accountability Community Task Force. First, let me say thank you for this opportunity. Principal Harden covered my two children for many years, and I never felt that my children were unsafe. But the problem does not start at Southeast High School. And I think it's a disrespect for us to even have this conversation here without going to the community as well. Why do I say that? Because October the 13th, the city of Raleigh hosted a Raleigh healing event. But even though we had 50 murders, am I right, Chief, last year, only 5 were worthy of healing, and that was the 5 in Headingham. The rest of the 45 were faces that looked like me and you. And that message told our children and our young black men that they're not worthy of healing. So that is not at the bottom, that's at the top. And until we start talking about the systematic issues that start at the top, we can't shave the bottom. I said, until we start talking about the system that has broken us, but we allow it to continue to break us until we're saying things like certain people don't belong here. If anything, those are the ones who do belong here. Those are the ones who are going to go straight to prison. And those are the ones that our cities are apologizing for disrespecting. I will leave you with this. He that hates his brother is a murderer. He didn't say he who cuts him or he who shoots him, but he who hates him. Hates is a murderer. And we got to get back to love, y'all, so we can put the other weapons down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anaka Saw, a BB for Hodier. For every black man, woman, and child on the planet. We are the original people. I am the original man. I am a son of Africa. We've been sitting here talking about bullying. The biggest bully on the planet is the United States of America, the government. These are issues that have to be addressed. Institutional racism. Institution, this is an institution, and this is where racism is practiced. When you talk about literacy and the inability for educational system to teach our babies to read, the literacy rate for 8th graders was 26%. For 4th graders, it was 32%, for 29, which makes 29%. It's a reason why the educational system is unable to educate our children. And that's because of institutional and systemic racism. As the sister just said, it starts at the top. When you look at the Constitution, the framers of the Constitution, who wanted to decide how are we going to treat the enslaved people. This country is built off of bullying, murder, and this is where the children get their cue from. I'm the founder and CEO of KCSSU, Comedic Cultural Sciences System of Unity. People have a problem with our organization because we're African-centered, but they never ask, what do y'all teach the children? I'm gonna give you a few things what we teach the children. The 10 virtues of a student, The first one, control your thoughts. The second one, control your actions. The third one, have a purpose. The fourth one, have faith in your teacher's ability to lead you on the path to truth. The fifth one, have faith in your ability to accept the truth. The sixth one, have the ability to act with wisdom. 7, freedom from resentment under the act of persecution. 8, freedom from resentment under the experience of wrong. 9, have the ability to know right from wrong. 10, have the ability to know the real from the unreal. What's wrong with them principles? We don't just teach the children to control your thoughts. We have exercises that are based off of the culture of our ancestors in Africa. The values that we teach on our culture, communication, how we talk to one another, our thoughts, our roles and responsibilities, customs, courtesies, ethics, manners of interaction, expected behavior. I haven't heard any of these values mentioned up here about educating the children. We talk about the bullies, right? The bullies are the ones who need help. That's what my organization does. We work with the so-called bullies because at the end of the day, they children as well. We don't push our children to the side. We don't push our community to the side. We want to make excuses. Institutional and systemic racism is a tool that is used to oppress black people. Ever since the George Floyd murder, that's all they've been talking about. Institutional racism, systemic racism. Well, the institutions, the educational system is an institution. The courthouse is an institution. Why all the racism? It's not, we talk about the parents, getting the parents to teach their children to do right. Why the adults can't do right? How come we got all this stuff going on in Israel where thousands of children are being killed? So you got to look at the United Nations, and you got to look at it from a global perspective. My organization has had 4 equity summits and a town hall meeting dealing with these issues. I've had the police chief on the panel. My organization, we helped Ms. Tara Waters get in office. We've done all these things, and yet my organization, they still ignore us. But I don't care about that because our mission is not to get funding from the city or the county, but to help our children. Anakasaw. I love you all.
Thank you. Sir, and ma'am, you'll be the last speaker.
Good evening. I'm Jack Evans. I have a son who's still here. He's a senior. He's graduating early this month, and had another son graduate 3 years ago. Through the 6 years of experience that I've had, that Mom and I have had with the boys attending school here, I want to honor the good things that have been brought up previous to me speaking tonight. I would not ever not include that part of it. So all acknowledgments to the good things that happened, are happening, and will happen here. But there is a problem here. My sons were both very cognizant, and their friends who were white and black, but they knew who to stay away from here. And we came and talked to teachers about this too. And once we gained their confidence, they told us that they were scared as well. They were hesitant to say anything because they knew that the administration did not have their backs, that they would lose their jobs, be blackballed, be blacklisted, and there was no help. My comment to them at the time was, it sounds to me like the parents need to form a group to support the teachers so that they don't have to be called out. But there's an undercurrent of disrespect for authority here and for order and for obedience to the law here. It is an undercurrent that I'm sure is quite palpable to you, but it seems that there's a political narrative that is either scared to address this or just refuses to. I'm not sure why. Is it money? Just so the school district can say to the federal government, hey, look at our test scores. Can we get more money? You know, or is it to address a political narrative. Look how politically correct we are here. But there's a problem with it. And my son now knows to not go to the bathrooms, even during class change, because that's where a bunch of the stuff goes down. He's scared. And if he goes to the bathroom and somebody gets in trouble after he's in the bathroom, they say, well, he was the last one in here and he's not one of us, so we're going to get him. And this goes on. And my current son who attends here, all his friends know the same code. Don't get involved with those guys because trouble will follow you. And trouble did follow somebody last week, and it took his life. And it's bad, bad news. There was in Southern Durham High School some years back, they had massive problems with graduation and with behavior. A new principal came in, he set boundaries. He made rule changes, big time rule changes. But the kids, they responded in a positive way. Their graduation rates went up. They got rid of all the lawlessness in the school. And Southern Durham was transformed. It was because we gave those kids boundaries and we did show that we loved them. So she's right. You know, several people have come up tonight and said, hey, what we need to do is show these kids that we love them. And yes, it does start at home. So it's not all on you. It's not all on, the administration or the staff or the police. We do need to start at home. So just wanted to share that quick story. And I'll tell you, we do need metal detectors because that's part of the boundary setting. You have to establish control here. And even if it means that you don't want to put the stigma of that here, I think you need to get over that and do something that actually establishes control, because if we would have had wanding or metal detectors, maybe you wouldn't have had what happened last week. So all due respect, but thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dominique Whitfield Crosby. I have a sophomore here. I talk a little fast, so hopefully I won't take too long. I wanted to just say thank you to Principal Harden and his administration here. I don't remember myself growing up having a principal that's been so approachable. And although I'm pretty short and can kind of blend in as a student, when my daughter first started as a freshman, you were approachable. You spoke to me like I was anyone else. I don't know if you thought I was a student or a parent, but you were approachable and you spoke, and I appreciate that and the support of your administration as well. One big common theme that I noticed here was community wanting to come back into the school, wanting to be able to help in the school and support the school, whether it's through organization or as a parent or as a volunteer. One good thing I thought about and just hearing everything that was said was one good opportunity would have been having some Chromebooks up here with the volunteer page open so they could have volunteered and signed up while they were here. So that would have been a good opportunity. But also to one of the women who pointed out the fact that in this community, unfortunately, you do have a lot of people with criminal records. So looking at that and looking at the community that you have and what exceptions may be made based on the crime or if they serve their time or whatever the act is, allowing certain people to come into the school system, particularly parents who want to participate. Another thing that I thought about was talking about anonymous reporting for the students within the age of the digital world where students have phone and technology at their hands. A simple text message for anonymous reporting where it's non-punitive. Southeast Raleigh High School would have been, 73747, a text message, anonymous reporting, no consequences. Even if you are on the verge of being the offender, report it. If you hear something, report it, because a lot of times, and one thing I did see on social media, unfortunately, because my child does share a lot with me, was people talking about rats and people going to administration and telling. A child is not going to feel comfortable if they're in that environment to walk to an administrative office and report something. Even if they're not even going there for that, there may be the assumption or the appearance that that's what they're going to do because perception is reality. So if there was a way for them to confidentially do it via their phones or through a social media app, if it was pushed out to the students on their text messages, so at any time, if they see a screenshot or a story, they can shoot it. And they can, excuse me for lack of poor choice of words, but they can send it and submit it through that app. And then another thing I thought about was after-school programs. So one thing that I am grateful for is the relationships that I've had here with the teachers. And unfortunately, due to the event last week, my daughter was pretty close to the event in her classroom. But I'm so happy that she was in the classroom she was in, because I have a close relationship with that teacher, and I was immediately able to say thank you for keeping my child safe, because I had no doubt in my mind that he followed protocol and he did what he was supposed to do. Regardless if she had to stay in that closet for 3 or 4 hours, I knew he had her, and I knew she was safe. And that speaks to the relationship as a parent that I have with your administration here in this school. And so I believe that it'd be beneficial to even have after-school programs where our young black men can have a safe space to talk in small environments after school, where it's not a lot of presence on campus, and speak to parents or speak to administrators. Maybe there's a variety of people. Maybe there's a mental health professional there, as well as some people from the community as far as parents go, and administration from the school, to do a small group session so they can talk and work out conflict resolution. Another thing I thought about too for officers, so I know as state employees we get volunteer time. Don't waste your volunteer time. Volunteer in the school system. Also, the governor allowed extra time when we had COVID for state employees to come in and volunteer. We need to bring that back. It shouldn't just be for COVID. It should be for if you're volunteering in the community and in your school system as a government employee, we should get extra time to be able to come in here more than 24 hours or whatever it is that we get for the year. And then also for officers, a lot of times it's talking about how, having officers that look like us in our own community. And as much as I would love that, the reality is law enforcement short-staffed, just like the school administration short-staffed. So is there an incentive for law enforcement to come out of their uniforms into their normal clothes and volunteer in the school systems on the South Side to get to know the children and the teachers here and build those relationships? And this way, when they are in their uniforms, the children are not alarmed. Same face, just different clothing. So just thinking about things like that, where we can bring the community in a safe way. Of course, we have to follow policies, but recognizing the community that you're in, and sometimes there needs to be a little bit of expansion of what those policies look like so that you can reach the children here, so that we're not coming here reactively to address these issues and our fears and concerns. The biggest thing I can say is, and this is just a delta, is that this would have been great to have before we brought the kids back. And I know someone else said that, and I do really support that, because I have never in my life had my child come and tell me for a week straight how fearful she was of dying. I got even a text today where she was like, "Mommy, I think today might be the day I don't want to die." I was like, "Baby, if you want me to come get you, I will come get you. I will come get you." And then another text, "Mommy, I made it. I'm alive. I'm coming home. I'm on the bus." All week has been like that. It would have given me peace of mind, because even as parents, we're fearful too, because what we're hearing is from our kids. So sometimes it's exacerbated, sometimes it's a real threat, and we don't know. And so it's not just the kids that are afraid or concerned, it's the parents as well. And so in order to be able to give our own children reassurance that they're coming here and they're going to be safe, it would have been good for us to have this conversation before we brought the kids back to the school. Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent Taylor, before you provide closing remarks, I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here this evening and really sharing your voices. I know that we had a lot of people leave. Just on a side note, it's been a long time since I stood in one place for 4.5 hours, but it was well worthwhile. So Superintendent Taylor, closing remarks.
Thank you very much. First thing I want to say is I do want to acknowledge our Board of Education that is here tonight, and thank you for staying and listening to all of the comments. So I do want to recognize that. I want to say the same for our teachers, our administrators, both in the school and at the district office. We recognize you being here. Certainly to the press that has stayed to make sure there was coverage for this event. I can't thank the speakers enough for being here and enduring and staying and listening to all of the comments. And certainly to the people that have attended tonight, thank you for your willingness to stay as well. I've taken a lot of notes. I've had a lot of observations. There are a few things that I do want to mention. before we end for the day. The first is, as the superintendent of Wake County Public Schools, we've gone back and forth about when was the right time to come back to school. And so there was the idea of staying closed, staying open, blah, blah, blah. But what I can tell you is that any criticism that you have concerning that decision, it comes to me. That was my decision, and I take the ownership and the criticism that goes along with that. I know how very difficult that was, but I want you to know, as the superintendent, I have to take ownership for the decisions that I make, and that is one of those. And we knew it was going to be difficult, and we wrestled with that. Part of the idea was we wanted to make sure that we were able to have children in school where we could address the issues and the needs that they have. So that is mine, and I own that, and I won't allow anybody else to take responsibility for that. I do want to say that one of the things that a student said is that, do we really care about our students? And I don't want a single student to leave not knowing that we don't care. We do care, and that is our driving force for being here. The other observation is that a lot of people pointed a lot of fingers, and that's fair, but Miss Kimberly McGee, and I don't know if she's still here, the first thing that she did was to take ownership and said that she checked out and she was part of the problem, and that she's going to make a change to make sure that that is something different moving forward. We talked about students being able to report things. I do want you to take this number down, because we do have an anonymous reporting number that students can use, and if the press would publish this as well, is 919-856-1911. 919-856-1911. This gives our students the opportunity and the ability to be able to report things anonymously, and that anonymity will remain with them. We will be moving to an app to provide this same service. I'm not sure where we are with that, but it is called the Say Something Anonymous app, so students will have that ability on their phone. I do want people to know and understand that SROs, their training is much different than what it was 30 years ago. And so, Chief Patterson, we thank you all for that engagement. People have spoken out about whether or not we want our schools militarized. And I think what I've heard tonight is that there is a desire that we explore all of those options, but that we not put kids in a militarized situation. And so we've heard the public both for and against what we do. We will take that into account. I'll end with our student leadership, and we've heard from a number of students tonight, including Alex, our SGA president, and I do want them to know, and everyone here to know, that our students will continue to have a voice in what we do, and we want them to be at the center stage of everything that is discussed concerning them. As a community, we have said that it is what we do together to address these issues. I will say that the only thing that we can take from this as a learning lesson is that this could have happened anywhere. It could have happened anywhere. And what I will say is this, is that if it had happened on the streets, would we be having this conversation now? And so that might be the thing that causes us and forces us as a community to say that it happened in a place that forced us to action. And so what I can tell you is that each one of us need to live our creed. And that is what I promise to do every single day that I show up, is to live my creed. I won't recite the poem because I do know it by heart, but please listen to the poem called Live Your Creed by Langston Hughes. And if we do that, that will be the difference in terms of how we move our students forward, our school forward, our district forward, and this community. So I want to thank you all for bearing with us tonight. and this will not be the last conversation that we have. So thank you all very much. And again, panelists, speakers, thank you for being here. And we look forward to this engagement on a continuous basis. Thank you.